So tonight we're going over some Lio Convoy stuff, but Lio dropped this big ass video, almost 4 hours of addressing things, kind of quote unquote Lio's apology to stuff. Not totally an apology. Really, the apologies happened probably down in the last 30 to 45 minutes. There's a couple really, really good ones that we might touch on. But a majority of it is actually going over and addressing the four adopted family members. Okay, so you have Hopeless Peaches, which he covers the entire Hopeless Peaches document. Jordan, a name that begins with O that I can't remember, Ali or Olive, maybe, I don't know, it's a no name, but that person, and then there is a fourth person that I also can't remember. But he goes over each person individually. He has Hopeless Peaches and Jordan are probably the two biggest coverages. And then he kind of steps into some of the other stuff, but not really. Like the Olive person, I never really heard much about. But really, the meat and potato stuff kind of happens. Oh, I think somewhere like in and around here, we start getting into some good meat and potato stuff. Let me see. This is not even remotely an apology. No, it really was an explaining things, like addressing things was really, it was a decent title. It was a pretty good pick for a title, in my opinion, because he's not really apologizing. Like I said, the apologies and any apologies that really happen, you want to take this last quarter of the video is where everything really happens that anybody is really going to care about. I really want to find that timestamp for Leia just to start. I know it's right in here.
Telling her to go find a noose and make sure it was nice and tight when she jumped.
Go find a noose.
That's my understanding, Jack. So I know that was kind of discussed, and he actually covers it. So he covers how Kumo's side of the story was, hey, this girl was gonna, okay, so a little bit backtracking. We'll get into it, but just to kind of cover the backstory so everybody's on the same page. So there was this group chat, and this girl was decided upon cutting somebody in this group chat's name into her body. Not a sound thing, not something I really would recommend, but she decides that, okay, I'm going to cut somebody's name into my body. Whose name should I cut? And this is where the story gets a little bit different, depending on who you hear. So from Kumo's side, he said, my name, because my name is the shortest of the names of the people in the group chat. And so therefore least painful and least harming and all that. Lio kind of spins it a little bit more of he was a little more excited to have her cut the name in. So you was working on getting him into it. That's something I noticed, Ellington. So there's a little bit of a twist with this, and Ellington's got it kind of on the nose. When the whole thing happens with this girl, so she goes ahead and she ends up cutting Kumo's name into her leg, right? Whatever. He says, all right, now take a paper towel, dry it off, and then he's like, ha ha ha, hang it on the wall, okay? Well, she kind of then spins it around and says that she was trying to see if anybody had like OBS active and recording to clip that and everything else. That kind of struck me as strange. That almost sounded like I gotcha, or was trying to get him in some way, shape, or form. So it's kind of a little bit of a, I don't know how to explain it. I think she might have had it in for Kumo when it came to that stuff. So I don't know. I'm still undecided 100% on Kumo. I think Kumo has a lot of great points. I think he's still also a human being and he's going to be flawed. His flaws just happen to be related to known flaws, right? Are related to this girl that cut her name, right? And so that's something that gets used against him regularly. That's the regular ammunition against him. Oh, I didn't know Kumo started cutting because of this. That's something interesting that I didn't know about. There was a guy who was recording in OBS, but he was muted. Okay. But yeah, so I'll get into that. We'll maybe touch on that because there's a couple things that are really interesting about that. And it gets into what I really want to cover. That gets brought up. But let me see if we can get this layup portion.
Make sure it's
here.
nice and tight when you jump, Hunger for Hose. But he didn't actually pay attention, did he? Firstly, there's the fact that he initially came to
So
me about
this
the
is still
FCK
talking about
regarding
Akumo
them
right
plotting
here.
against him. He didn't detail any degeneracy until later. Not only that, but he's
By
conflating
the
what
way,
happened in the FCK as analogous to Rosa.
Lio, buddy. This screenshot's like, okay, how in the hell am I gonna read? Look, I'm fucking blind in one eye. How the fuck am I gonna read that shit? And then it's also half translucent, so it's not really the greatest. Who was a sadist? If he was into it unknowingly and she brought it out of him, that suggests he's into pain play. Could be. Might need to look up Tomato Man.
Detail any degeneracy until later. Not only that, but he's conflating what happened in the FCK as analogous.
Is it still Tomato Man? I don't know. Somebody was somebody, and then they're not. Oh, Pie. It's Pie Girl and Pie Man. That I confused it with Tomato Man. I apologize, Tomato Man.
Is to Rosa's situation. Rosa let a person they knew was a child predator stay in a server with minors knowingly for a.
This was really interesting to me. Okay, he covered this a couple points in here, and I really want to know more. All right, so he says, you know what? The Rosa Call, the famous fucking Rosa Call. Everybody's heard the goddamn Rosa Call at this point, right? Well, that famous Rosa Call, he says a little more about how, hey, he says a little bit more about, hey, look, I know Rosa was mentally disabled. Like, we covered that pretty extensively. But he says, all right, she wasn't as disabled as you think. So, I mean, we're getting another side of the story. Is it the truth? Who knows? I know that Lio presented a little bit of that side of things and tried to dispel a lot of the claims that were out there. So it was kind of interesting. I just want to read this real quick. Yeah, I, as far as like the pain play stuff goes, you know what? If whatever floats your boat, have fun with it. Yeah, I think if you send a link, I should be able to copy it, and I'll open it up in the browser window.
8 months.
I'll
It wasn't
definitely
even
watch
until
that,
recently that anyone found out what Toasty was doing to minors behind the scenes. While posting porn around minors is absolutely wrong and it's fine to call out, that's not the same as actively grooming.
So what they're doing, what Lyle's talking about right here, is comparing the whole Peaches situation with being in the fruitcake server that we talked about, and what Toasty did in that server, Toasty being the main culprit, versus Rosa, and Rosa being in that one server. And he actually does go over, I didn't realize, and again, it's just so fucking hard to find the goddamn recordings. There is apparently, I can't remember this, it's like Star something or other that actually owned the server and ran the server. Well, they like kind of brought them into one of those famous Senate calls, and Lio was like trying to be nice, and I don't know, they flaked and ran, basically. Yeah, most of the commentary people are not believing it. I don't know. I'm conflicted on it. He presented some pretty decent information. Like, if I'm going to keep an unbiased, open mind and really consider all things, I have to consider that he might be telling the truth. I also have to consider all of the other stuff that I've seen. The problem is we're getting into like medical history and shit. I don't know. Like, he didn't really go into dispelling like any of her literal like medical history, but won't believe anything that doesn't further their narrative. All right, let's get this going.
People. Grooming requires targeting and intent. The degeneracy he detailed with Rosa. I literally said Serafina did a video, said what I did to him. If Akumu can't get into this. He also claims that Nezzy is helping me with this response.
Then deleting the tweet. What has he been up to?
Okay, so this gets into a little bit about his thoughts on Akumo, and we're going to get into that. That's the one I want to get into.
Have given me another Nezzy buy it fin
Video is that person later. He also likes to point out that I had the logs for a few months but didn't cover.
because you're admitting that you've had the logs for months.
Okay, so this gets into the FCK server logs that Lio had them. A couple different people had them. Why didn't he call out the bullshit that happened with Hopeless Peaches? You know, like, why not call that shit out if you got the logs? So you got the evidence right in front of you. What the hell's going on, Lio? He I don't know. I don't feel like he really addressed that well.
Months. Had the logs for
Hate to bold there was grooming going on in that server, as it was apparently external to it, nor did I know of all the possible minors that were in it. It's why
This is where he just basically says a lot of I don't know.
I initially thought that recent form of the name, so I didn't even recognize him and assumed no one else did either. I was clearly in the wrong on that.
I believe everyone is a little bit of a piece. Exactly. It's one of those, like, when you're looking at Reddit and you get those "Am I the asshole" situation, and you got the "Everybody here sucks." Yeah. I don't know, Jack. When we get into things, like when you really get into the beginning, probably the first third of this video goes over that whole Peaches document. He's never brutally outright like mean, like he has been to other people. I think he's trying to change that about himself. I think people expected that Lio, Lio, he's trying to get away from that for mental health reasons. I definitely am going to support that. I think Lio needs to out of that business. I agree with his decisions there.
Longer to get a hold of shows currently because of the road actually can't convince possible. In fairness, though,
oh my god, I know it's right in here. I think we're like right at it.
As he did actively try to stop some of Toasty's action. I think this is the truth because it's the outcome that makes the person he's actively working against looks malicious and
I remember him working on this part of the model.
While I think some of Akumu's actions here are wrong and he genuinely needs a better crew to be around, I hope he takes most of this as a learning experience. I know I certainly am. If you don't want people to see you as the person you feel you were painted as in Ponder's video, Akumu, you have to genuinely change your approach and actions. Aligning yourself with people who knowingly lie, whether by omission or otherwise, and try to strong-arm those they don't like into silence is not the way to do that.
Yeah, that blew my mind, Ellington. When I saw that, oh my god, he bought her like an iPad, like $8,000. Mind you, it was a lot longer period of time than the whole, like, it wasn't like just a short little period of time that this stuff happened. It was a long period of time that this went on for, but still, $8,000. Fuck. Which is better, judging this nonsense in general, favoritism, or least favorite? Who's correct? Most people overlook the facts to begin with. Yeah, a lot of people didn't want to dive into this because there is so much stuff. Staying off the internet would help his mental health. I don't think he's going to do that. And in all honesty, Lyle's not going to stay off the internet. He's better off changing hobbies.
You could be very good at this, so don't waste your talents by squandering them with reprobate on things.
I think it's right here for Leia.
Touch. Also, you let Kumo play you for a fool without doing any research or double-checking to paint me as a degenerate.
This I wasn't a fan of. This is a little bit of a kind of trying to play one against the other, playing Akumo versus Kumo. And I didn't think that was the way to word this personally, but whatever.
And even after being showed you were wrong and uploading another video the next day to correct yourself, you still kept the libelous video.
3 years? I thought it was a lot longer than that, because I thought this stuff went all the way back to the oh god, why am I blanking on the name? Oh my god, I'm blanking completely on her name. The art chick, the one that Peaches and her got into it, not Camilla, the other one, the one before that. Creepshow art. I thought it went all the way back to that because he actually brings up Creepshow art like early in the video. And is actually talking about Creepshow art and how he kind of wished he was there for Peaches at that time.
Video up. Very smart. You gotta do better, dude. Leia something is some weird
very true,
pick-me girl that's been obsessed with me ever since I put her friend Papa Rivet around.
Here we are. I don't want to miss this. Okay. I'm sorry, but this was a peak fucking Lio call out here. Like, Leia did something to get on his radar.
Correct yourself. You still kept the libelous video up. Very smart. You gotta do better, dude. Leia something is some weird commentary pick-me girl that's been obsessed with me ever since I put her friend Papa Rivet around Blast for doing the exact same thing they were mad at Slug for doing. She's in her mid-30s, and I think it's pretty obvious she wants the attention from people she never got from her dad. She can feign offense over what I said to Rosa, but what she allows her chat to say about Zach from home.
And I saw this, and it was kind of interesting. So, Morningstar, I believe that's the person that was in charge of the server that Rosa was supposedly a mod in. I still do not know if Rosa was a mod in that server or not. I believe Lio tries to present some proof with that, but I don't recall 100%. But this was kind of interesting. The whole I'm taking away Zach's LGBTQ card for that stuff. Someone needs to call the FBI and investigate Lio's house, blah, 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 blah. There was another one. I hate Zach's Valley Girl accent so much. And then hashtag, yeah, you guys can read that. So, Star Giant. Yes. Thank you, Ellington.
Homophobia to sexual harassment shows she doesn't actually care.
Whoa, what was that?
But what she allows her chat to say about Zach from homophobia to sexual harassment.
That's because
shows she doesn't actually care. I'm not really interested in speaking to her at the moment, but if she needs help finding her dad, I'm sure I could chip in.
Would you be able to just call the mom again and tell her that, yeah,
this we're gonna listen to.
Rin is not doing good?
I could.
Okay, so there was a account that I never really got into. I never encountered it. I guess I just didn't dig through Twitter that much because it was already had enough of a headache trying to like trace this stuff backwards on YouTube. So I didn't really dig into the Twitter side of stuff. But there was a Twitter account called FCK Leaks. Well, this FCK Leaks account was run by a literal child who's been kicked off the internet by her dad. Not even kidding. I actually got some bookmarks if we want to look at that. It's funny.
Good, but I'm not.
But this gets into, the person's name is Rin, R-I-N, not to be confused with Ren, who is an artist. I have no idea who the hell that is, GG. Hold on, I do want to do something. All right. But yeah, there's an art community person named Ren, and I just didn't want to get them confused. But yeah, it's kind of a funny story. Yeah, it really was a good dad move. I'm not gonna lie. But this gets into the whole Rand situation. Like I said, I don't really want to go over too much. I want to cover. Let's see if there's a tag. Beautiful. Where is it's Akumo, Ren, final thoughts, Gilded. This is really the apology section, as you can see. JBiz, that was one of the other people that Lio adopted. This was really interesting as well that we're going to get into it. But here,
There are some people that think I should just address my wrongdoings and apologize and do
we'll
only
get into
that,
this.
But
because the call is in the video here.
that's not how this works. I'm not obligated to let dishonest, crazy people take shots as though they have a place to. The only reason any of them are trying this is due to the fact that I've exposed them for other things in the past. Possibly because at this point, they have a vendetta against me for that. And I'm going to line that out here. This isn't a defense of the Rosa stuff, so cool your jets. While information should be taken regardless of source if it's true, in cases like this, paying attention to the history and biases of said sources is also important. If it was someone who has known me for a few years and doesn't seem to have any biases against me other than genuinely telling me when they think I'm out of line, paying heed to them would make more sense. But the people I'm talking about here have a bias rooted in the fact that they've been called out for their actions by me in the past. This isn't about the truth. Pick up cues of the Akumo is a small commentator that's made a name for himself by his edgy demeanor and his inability to pick up cues of the basics of right and wrong. To the outside observer, you may be thinking that Kumo's videos on me are informative and correct. This is where a term called sophistry comes into play, because it's all Kumo has. The moment you inspect anything he says, it falls apart. And there's no better example of this than the initial video addressing the fact that he convinced a mentally ill woman to carve his name into her thigh. Wait a minute though, that's not what the original runtime was. That's because Kumo snipped it down. But don't worry, I have the original. I also have the second one where he further lies and tries to excuse his actions.
What I'm getting at here is, at one point, there was a call where...
Okay, so this video goes over the actual call. You're going to hear the actual call. Nothing's going to be shown on screen. Lio kind of goes over that. There's a little bit back and forth on this call that gets discussed.
The entire...
There's going to be a couple really good resolutions that are not addressed in here that get addressed. So like, look, when you look at this, you think he really did address everything, but he didn't. So going through this Patchwork Hearts one, that I don't know if I even included it. I did listen to Patchwork Hearts original video. They got a little heated calling out Lio at one point. Raven call versus the Rosa Ray call. Jax, Dreadful Jax, that's the kid that he called the school on, supposedly. There's going to be a lot more information. I'm going to get you guys on that with this other video that we're going to look at. Jib situation is meh. Crystal Flame is actually going to be in the other call that I'm going to review here. Harley TBS. This was just a general apology section, but he did actually apologize to Akumo here, even though he gave him criticism later on. Kind of just the manipulation and stuff is really kind of laid heavy between this and the initial Hopeless Peaches segment. Gilded Poo, I still don't know a whole lot about this guy other than the fact that he's kind of a troll. Sorry. I was just reading chat for a second to make sure I'm not missing anything. Ren, which is the Fruitcake Leaks Twitter account that I talked about. Leia, something we just heard. So that's kind of really the whole video. Like I said, you guys are going to love this other one. It's a lot better. Fun fact, during the Akumo Lio conversation, Jax did call Lio's phone. So don't. Yeah. We're going to get into that conversation because I really thought that was so much better, Ellington.
Your fucking group chat was in. Mind you, everyone at the in that fucking valid wanted. These are the type swear on my soul. This is how I interacted with them. The point said going to call Discord is only 4 letters. I even told her, do not cut deep. She then says, whose name should I cut? I say, do mine. Logically speaking, this was going to cause the least amount of damage. This is why I made this panicked fucking decision. My name on Discord is only 4 letters. I even told her, do not cut deep.
I keep all of that in mind. He claims he was panicked, that people were clamoring for their names to be cut, that he did it to get her to carve the shortest name. The last part was already debunked by Ephraim, and a link for that will be in the description.
Okay. Not gonna bother with an Ephraim video. That guy, I cannot fucking stand him. I will not put you guys through an Ephraim video. Think verbalizing weird screeching noises. That's kind of how I translate listening to anything Ephraim has to say.
I've also been told that Kumo has told others that this was a kink thing that happened in a server. However, literally nothing he's saying.
Yeah. The Doodle Tone stuff, I think he's getting wrapped up in a whole new situation, a whole new Peaches situation with what's going on with Doodle Tones. Exactly what I said in my last video on this stuff is what I think is happening. Doodle Tones is going into that power vacuum, and she's going to try and take that Queen Bee position because now Peaches is gone.
It's true. I know this because I have the clip. I can't play the visuals for you because it would allow the video to be flagged. The link will be in the description for you.
Oh, God. AJ or TJ or something.
To see it at your own discretion.
What should I cut?
What?
What should I cut into me?
My name.
This is the actual call, so I'm going to rewind it real quick just so you guys. He leads right into it.
To be flagged. The link will be in the description for you to see it at your own discretion.
What should I cut?
What?
What should I cut into me?
My name.
Really?
Bestie.
Okay. I'll do it on cam. Hold on.
Dude, that's fast. You
God, she's actually got
That'd be funny.
Let me turn up my screen share.
Like, not deep, because then, like, no, don't leave any evidence.
I will say on
Okay.
Kumo's behalf, he does say that portion, but it's weird when he says don't leave any evidence. Like, it's kind of a suspect way of saying it.
Yeah.
Much food, doc, strap chat. I like force him to join.
I'm telling you,
Yeah, that'd be best.
that's what's gonna happen. Doodle Tones wants that fucking power position in the fucking in whatever's left of the art commentary community. Look at how she's ran the slideshow commentary side of stuff. She's got that little tight rein. She likes to hold a tight little collar over that. So I think she's seeking out better power and wants to be queen bee of the whole art community.
Yes, as fuck. Someone just stalk him, like force him to join. If he doesn't join, you just like go to his address. Yeah. I've never seen Trap Chat in real life. I don't know how he looks like.
I don't know if I spelled anything right because I can't see because of my light.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, most cutters I know that, like I said, that I've seen, you like on this part of your arm, stuff that's not really gonna show, like inside of arms and stuff on that can be under short sleeves, pants, legs, things that can be covered up. Okay, this is why I say he's full of it. There's no way he could think that fast when he's half asleep regarding on what name to choose. Oh man.
Hold on. I mean, I kind of got it. Hold on. I'll fix it.
But she says something
Epic.
here at the end. Just pay attention to how things are said here.
Epic. Alright, now, like, go, like, press a napkin on it and, like, hang it on your wall.
That sounds weird, Kumo. Not gonna lie. That's probably why you get a lot of shit from a lot of people on this fucking call. Is that little, you could chalk a lot of other shit up, but when you said that line, it just looks suspect, man.
No.
No, it is. Hold on.
It's fine.
Oh, that's something to consider too. Okay, so he's 16 at the time, maybe, indecision, stupid decisions. I'll chalk it up to that.
I don't think it.
It's okay. We all know what it is, though. We know what it means.
Turned out better than
Cumb.
So this part, I think he's trying to get her to not do any more, is what I think he's trying to basically stop her from right here.
I'm kidding. It looks like
Oh yeah, that's from when I was on a call with you.
With me or him?
With him.
Is that your leg or your arm?
Yeah.
Can't tell.
It's my leg. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's my leg.
I mean, it's a bunch of kids doing stupid
God.
shit. Don't go in Discord servers, kids. This is what happens. You end up cutting
Let me take a
yourself.
picture of this. Come
Oh no.
on.
I'm gonna get canceled, dude.
That's also suspect.
Who has OBS open?
And this.
I do.
Nobody-
What are you gonna do about it?
Clip that. Clip you saying cut Kumo.
Do you hear any panic? Any others clamor?
I do hear her saying that, which just drives it. It's one of those weird fucking things. It's just weird. It's got to stick out to other fucking people too. Kumo, do my name. Leave no evidence. Epic. And hang the evidence on your wall. I mean, you gotta admit, it's like a kid process when you think about a crime in that manner. Do this. Don't do it like meaningful, but then display the evidence over here. Oh man. All right. Well, I want to get away from this. Everybody and their mothers covered this stuff. Anyway, it's Addressing Things by Lio Convoy. He did have a bunch of different links and stuff. Where was it? You have it in the pinned comment? Yeah, he has the pinned comment. That's what it is. He even shows the kit build, which is funny. There is something coming up that we're gonna get into with that too. Anyway, Akumo also released a video covering specifically his portion of the Addressing Things video from Lio. I suggest going and checking that out. I'm not gonna play this, but yeah, this is just a couple days ago, same time as Lio. But what we're gonna get into is, let's get into
I'm
this.
fucking tired. I've been up since 3.
All right, so we are going to look for Lio to pop out. Okay, so I'm going to give you a bit of pretense on this. So this is a call that was set up. So Lio said he was going to premiere that Addressing Things video, right? I'm going to leave their chat on the screen over here so you guys can see that stuff. If you see anything it's worth reading. Anyway, so I don't know what happened behind the scenes, obviously, not in these groups, but somehow a call gets arranged between Akumo and Lio Convoy with Jar, just a robot, as the moderator of sorts. Jar actually did contribute quite a bit to this. Another thing that we're going to get into later on is Crystal Flame is in here, and there's a little bit of like understanding and explaining things. Crystal Flame, I did not include her video, but Crystal, oh my god, my typing tonight. Crystal Flame put out another video right here. She put out quite a long video.
She just would never do.
Shh. Okay. She put out a video. She goes through literally all of Lio's stuff. But then Crystal also, I believe she, I'm going to use she. I don't know pronouns. So again, if I'm wrong, correct me. But Crystal goes through the whole video and everything and adds a bit of commentary. And they even like actually read out the things that are on screen. And then because Crystal had a bit of contribution that played into this. Picture's worth 1,000 words. Oh yeah. Doodle Tones. Okay, Doodle Tones. My criticism for Doodle Tones with her, again, pronoun, don't know, with her voice changer. I think it sounds like somebody speaking through a microphone underwater as they're being strangled to death. That's just my point. But Crystal actually had a lot of input. And if you had gone to Lio Convoy's channel previously, Lio had a video out on Crystal Flame. I was trying to see if anybody saved it. Jibs. Leia something went over it. So if you want, I'm sure Leia's got like the whole video and goes over it. But Lio had made a video that was out on his channel previously about Crystal Flame. Well, Lio ends up taking down the Crystal Flame video because when you're going through the addressing allegation stuff on his channel, he actually talks about the Crystal Flame situation and how he was kind of led on or led to believe. Okay, thank you, Ellington. I appreciate it. Led to believe that Crystal was a bad person by Peaches. This is prior to the whole destructive breakup documents being dropped and all this other shit. So Lio went back and ended up taking down the Crystal Flame video. So there was a video that's set right in here where right between this whole the conundrum video, which is Doodle Tones in it. And again, I think this is where Doodle Tones is trying to sneak in. She wants to claim that seat. And then the new addressing things video. It's nice to see that he's actually trying to put out a bit of content and get away from things maybe. And it looks like he's trying to progress his channel and trying to move on. So another thing that we're going to get into in the call that's going to be covered here is there is a tentative, and I have no idea when this would happen. Maybe we can look it up. But there is a tentative call set up for Kumo, and I'm a space Kumo, and Lio Convoy. I just apparently wanted to spell that how I just spelled it.
I can literally cancel
if
you.
there's anything planned. No, that's a month ago. And yeah, that's about it. So apparently there's a big call planned. And then Peaches threw Lio under the bus. Yeah, I don't know. I think there was a lot of context lost in the conversation between when conversations were held with Crystal Flame regarding Hopeless Peaches, when things were leaked by Crystal Flame regarding Hopeless Peaches, and then some. I think that, you know, Peaches obviously had a bit of manipulation going on and all that. So I think that's my opinion on it. Is what happened is kind of what you're saying. I think everybody left the initial call kind of all in agreement about a plan on how to go forward with Peaches and what was going on. And then when the plan started to get enacted, Peaches changed his mind. And then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose and it just turns into a fucking clusterfuck. But anyway, getting back to it, we'll start listening to this. This call is a lot fucking more interesting than that fucking 4 hours of bullshit. And you know what? If you want to hear it, there's a million channels covering right now, but I haven't seen anybody really cover this.
Oh,
Technical issues I was dealing with.
no, I get it.
Things that I really want you guys to notice with all this is that Lio's tone and his candor and everything is a lot different from anything I've previously seen with Lio. He could be totally full of shit, but I think he's pretty fucking honest in this. And he eats a lot of crow when it comes to like the Jax situation. Jax ends up calling in at some point too, which is it's not helpful. There's a whole doxing thing going on in the middle of all of this where Lio's getting pizzas delivered by some account and they're trying to figure that out. So this is a hell of a lot more fucking exciting and more interesting than watching some dude build a model and talk about how all these people are fucking terrible.
I get it.
Because my audio was muted, therefore they didn't have access to my camera. I rephrased to pay like 5 times. All right, so what can I do for you, Akumu?
Well, I just have a couple of questions.
Go for it.
That said a lot, by the way.
I'm
like quite a lot. I just have a couple of questions, or one more question. I swear to God, that gets said probably fucking 50 fucking times in this goddamn conversation.
just here as the middleman. I'm probably going to be quiet the whole time. If I need to step in, I will, but I'll probably be quiet the whole time. You're both adults. I'm sure you both can behave yourselves.
I don't know about if Lio's a lolcow now. It depends on how he moves in these next steps, in my opinion. He could step away from things, take things really serious. If I were him, I'd say, you know what, Doodle Tones, take over shit. I'm done with it, and walk the fuck away. Go on to something else, you know, like it's not a big thing for him, in my opinion, because Lio has changed communities before. So he was like kicked out of like the Thundercats community and all this other shit. And I think he's getting a better reign and a better hold on his emotions, possibly, especially if he's actually seriously pursuing therapy and things that he talks about in his call. But I think he needs to get the fuck away from the art community. I honestly do. As much as I tend to feel that he really enjoys the people that he surrounds himself with, he surrounds himself with a lot of terrible fucking people. Yeah, I believe there was a couple Thundercats communities that he got kicked out of. He actually has on his account somewhere, I don't know if it's on Twitter or if it's on YouTube, I'm not going to look it up right now, but he's got that he's a Thundercats historian. Hence the Thundercats logo that he uses on everything.
The conundrum video. You said that I was trying to like control the narrative with it, but you rushed the video out.
I did.
You don't see like the irony.
You know what I could see? Is there a Goof Troop one? Oh shit! I don't know if there is. I'd be willing to, especially if there's like I could be a Goofy movie historian. Yeah. By the way, anybody who is in here who's interested from the commentary community and all that stuff, the guy I got later on, let me tell you, this guy is fucking funny. And you know what? I think he's the replacement for our Tony Hits issue. So that's going to be a bit later, but this is interesting. And honestly, Ellington, what I was going to say is I think that Lio could actually, and hear me out on this, he could do well doing just basic commentary like I do and stuff. Oh boy, Ellington. Tony Hits is a character in the small commentary community that's an EDM music producer and review our Payments USA. Oh shit. He's a music producer. This guy's kind of off his fucking rocker. I don't even know where to begin to tell you the story of Tony Hits. I don't know who brought him into the community, but he does some stuff. And yeah, Tony's crazy. Tony is legitimately fucking crazy. But I found a guy that's crazy on a good level. See, Tony's crazy on the other end. So I think he could, if he does it kind of like what I do. If he could actually do stuff and review things and be unbiased, I think, he really is a mix of Chris Chan and Daniel Larson. I think Lio could do kind of what I do with reviewing topics and doing deep dives on stuff like that and looking into things and maybe doing like some histories on stuff. I could see him doing that kind of almost like a video essayist, kind of a Turkey Tom, June the King, formerly King of Nothing. If you haven't heard that story, that's another fucking crazy story that happened in the last week. A lot of shit happened. And I'm trying to sit here and think of how I'm going to cover all this.
Irony with that?
Oh, no, absolutely. I rushed the video out because I was asked to, because Peaches was panicking.
Okay, so, and then also in the video, well, actually not the video, but in the Crystal Flame video, the clips from you, a Crystal Flame, and Peaches talking, that was February 25th, right?
I think so.
He's trying to establish a timeline here to understand, like, if what Akumo is trying to establish here is a timeline to understand the Crystal Flame video and some of the stuff that Lio talks about in the addressing things, as far as like, okay, did Hopeless Peaches really fucking sabotage this whole thing?
I'd have to go back and look. We had a few calls.
The part where because I know there's a part where Crystal Flame advises the thread to be made, the Twitter thread that Peaches made. So that part was definitely like February 25th. But the part where Peaches admits to knowing that Slimmers was a minor, Crystal Flame says that was on February 25th, that call.
Yeah.
But then in the 26th video, you said that you doubted Peaches knew.
Yeah, because Peaches said they struggle with memory issues. Peaches said that they know Slimmers was in there. And the context of that was that they knew, like, at least the past tense that they were there. I didn't read that as Peaches knowing at the time that they were in there that they knew Slimmers was in there. And as I said in my recent video, I had forgotten that exports pull the modern, most common or up-to-date name instead of the old one. So part of that was assumption on my end, which was a problem.
But Peaches in the clip says, well, you know, Slimmers was there. I know she was like 16 or something.
Yeah, again, I read that as Peaches saying that they now currently know that Slimmers was in there and that they were 16 at the time by doing basic math.
Okay, but so you didn't know about the video that Peaches made talking about Slimmers?
I knew that Peaches made a video talking about Slimmers, but I don't know the full extent. Ah, doggone it.
This, by the way,
Sorry,
happens
Amber.
a couple times. And it's kind of funny because you're going to hear it happen to Lio, and then like seconds later it happened to Jar twice. Kind of funny. They pulled the name that's there when exporting begins. And that's what Lio's saying is he thought the older name would be there. And I guess didn't realize that the newer name would be there. I don't remember how this applies to the logs completely, but that's something that kills me. Peaches can have memory issues, but no one else is allowed to. That actually, I think, gets addressed fairly well in this call, too. There's one other thing. It's a dumb assumption. Yeah. I mean, Lio actually gets called out on quite a bit more in this call and gets a little bit of pushback. Not just from Akumo, which is kind of expected, but he also gets kind of a pushback from Jar, and he gets a bit of pushback from Crystal Flame later on. And that's why I thought this was just so much more interesting and so much more better than that long-ass video. And it's a little bit shorter, too.
Alert.
And I can make it even better because I could actually speed it up. We're going to put it at $1.25.
But I never actually sat and watched the video.
Okay. Well, hold on.
But this is stuff Jar's brought to me, too, after the initial Conundrum video, actually.
Okay, hold on.
So I want to get back to that because you never watches one of the videos.
Doggone it. Sorry, Amber alert. But I never actually sat and watched the video.
Okay, but so you didn't know about the video that Peaches made talking about Slimmers?
I knew that Peaches made a video talking about Slimmers, but I don't know the full extent. Ah, doggone it. Sorry, Amber alert. But I never actually sat and watched the video.
Okay.
So he made a video on Crystal Flame, and then Peaches had made her excuse video. This is before... God damn it. Peaches made his excuse video. This is before he left. I'm gonna probably fuck up pronouns several times in this shit. Forgive me. I'm not trying to do this shit on purpose, but even Jar mentions these fucking art people, transgender wise, is fucking confusing. Okay? Like, nobody knows who is what gender at any given time. Do you know how fucking weird that is? I'll try not to worry about it. Rooted my phone, get rid of Amber Alerts. You know, I actually haven't rooted. I've got a Pixel, and I've been picking Google phones for a while. It just goes back to like the original Pixels because I like that thing. That is their thing. When in doubt, transition.
Well, hold on.
But this is stuff Jar's brought to me too, after the initial Conundrum video, actually.
Okay, hold on.
So what he's saying is that there's claims here that are being made about the logs and the FCK server and Peaches knowing about Slimmers' age that he was made aware of by Jar later. Honestly, I think Peaches using pronouns as a shield. Yeah. Allocating Jenner, hiding from vehicular manslaughter charges. Yeah, you're very fucking right, Ellington. I said that back in the beginning. I was joking about it, but I'm half serious at the same time. It's one of those things that, like, when you're in trouble, it seems like, and you know what? It even gets fucking called out in this goddamn call by Lio, Akumo, Jar, and Crystal Flame. All four of them agree that, you know, it's one of those things that people are either groomed or they change your gender or they do both, depending on how severe. Yeah, OJ had thought about that. Oh god, what would OJ's trans name be?
Yeah, I kind of wish you guys had... Oh, sorry.
You're fine. Say what you're going to say.
Yeah, I kind of wish you guys had this call a lot. Oh, now I'm getting an Amber Alert. Holy shit. Okay. I kind of wish you guys had this call a lot sooner because, like, I think a lot of headache could have been avoided if it happened sooner.
Well, I did push for it.
Yeah, but part of the reason why we couldn't have it sooner is because I'd imagine in this call that we would have had some of the information that would have been in my video would have had to be in it. And I don't think that Akumu would have kept what other things I had to say quiet about that. So that was my concern. Obviously being busy as well, because I have been working on that video like for a while. You can tell by the fact that it has a 4-hour runtime with tons of screenshots and videos and all that to it. I haven't just been sitting around doing nothing.
Do you know when you started working on it?
Technically, I started working on it back in February. That's where the first draft came.
Okay, small thing that I thought was hilarious related to the whole trans thing and just everything that goes on. Okay, so we have Hopeless Peaches. Hopeless Peaches, in the middle of this fleeing the internet shit, decides to change their pronouns from she to he, right? Well, in the whole first third of that video where Lio is going over all of the Hopeless Peaches document, the Google Doc, and I didn't go over it, but he goes over it in pretty fine detail, and I'll give him that. He does use the proper pronouns the entire time, okay? But he has a female narrating the thing, which is fucking hilarious to me. My brother doesn't use normal pronouns, but I still do with him. There are words that and aren't always worth getting upset over. I agree with that. Yeah, some people, you know what, the pronoun things matter to them. You know what, I feel like if it matters that much to you, I'll try and abide by it. Just realize I'm human. I'm subject to error. I'll try and do the right thing. Bear with me. I'll get there eventually. You know, I had my best friend from high school transitioned. And you know how many times that, like, I've actually had to create a divide in my mind, which was the easiest way for me to do things, okay? Where I refer to them as he when I'm talking about him as far as, like, knowing him in high school and everything else. And then talk about she and her when I talk about them in present.
Well, then after Peaches pulled their stunt, I just went from there.
And the false accusation supreme statement, you said that came from Kumo and another call.
Yes, and I played that in the video where Kumo, in that call,
they were laying the groundwork for it since Kumo first tried contacting them about the FCK server. I respect pronouns. Respect me. Something is fishy here, though. Yeah, I'm gonna rewind it just so we can get back into context. We'll go 10 seconds.
Went from there.
And the false accusation supreme statement, you said that came from Kumo and another call.
Yes, and I played that in the video where Kumo, in that call, which by the way I have no problem passing you a link to, so you have to give me a minute to get it, says that you and him have been working on the FCK and that you're going to claim that Peaches, Toasty, and Teddy were in a 3-way relationship with Peaches being 20 and Teddy being 15.
Well, his wording was love triangle because Toasty was flirting with both Peaches and Teddy in the server.
Fair point. But the point is, if you're 20 and you're flirting with a 15-year-old, you know.
Well, no, he didn't say that Peaches was flirting with Teddy. He said that Toasty was flirting with Peaches and Teddy in the server.
So that might be a miscommunication on my end. Let me take a look at this and give you the call itself.
This is what I'm talking about. There's a lot of actual good, solid communication in this call. It really is. It's just different with my brother than other people. Yeah, I can understand that. You know, it's very, I could definitely see that. Like, if my brother transitioned, it'd be hard for me to wrap around, and that's where I probably have to do the divide thing with them too, and just mentally, from here on out, it's a he, from there, it's she. Yep, exactly.
Because he also talks about how he's sniggering and laughing in the background during all of this because he knows what's going to come out.
And this is a call that was an endless server, right?
Yeah, let me grab you the link. Get your link. Boop. By the way, I know you said you had some family issues. I hope that went well.
Oh, yeah, that's figured out now. Yeah, it took some time, but yeah.
That struck me as pretty respectful in all of this. Just you know what? It was worth it to hear a kind gesture come from the mouth of Lio Convoy towards someone that you know damn well he's had a bit of a history with. So I thought it was kind of interesting to hear that.
There you go.
There's a lot of good communication and information sharing that actually happens in this call.
Okay.
So you have that for your records now.
Hey, Leia, something's in chat, in their chat.
And in the February 25th, you messaged Laka Moka Laka, asking why they had joined the FCK, right?
Yeah, because I was told that they did. I was curious about why they did it because I hadn't poured through the entirety of the logs, so I had no clue what they were in there for.
Who they're talking about right now, I don't know if you guys recall, but there's a famous, like, what the hell call was that? I want to say it was like one of the mod calls that was kind of leaked with all the Senate crumbling and everything else, which, by the way, tell me there isn't a lot of irony in naming something the Senate after, you know, something that was, well, in the collapse of, Was the Senate the Romans or was that the Greeks? I can't remember my world history at this point, but set in, say, Roman Greek Empire, and it collapsed. And again, you know, the whole, the juxtaposition, I guess, would maybe be the wording I'm looking for, of Lio Convoy compared to like a Julius Caesar, and, you know, the siblings end up being the people that stab him in the back. I don't know. There's just some theatrical thing to this that's just kind of, okay, Romans. Thank you, Ellington. So Roman, but I just I don't know. Theatrically, it plays out of my mind seeing Lio Convoy and et tu, Brutus. I'm a weirdo.
So you knew that like people were being invited in there.
Yeah.
So why did you say I was withholding it from
representatives? Definitely Caesar salad in his ass.
everyone?
Did I say you were withholding it from everyone, or that you were holding it from me?
You told Laka that I was withholding it from everyone.
Let me take a look at my DMs.
I can pull it up if you want.
No, I can do it. I mean, they are my DMs. From everyone else is what I said.
Yeah.
The only other person I knew that had it was you and Laka.
Well, your spy didn't tell you that I was inviting other people to get their own copies of the logs?
Well, no. At that point, I thought it was literally just you and Laka in there. And, of course, the individual that I put in there, who obviously didn't get it from you.
You talking about Pink Ranger based?
Yeah. I actually couldn't remember what their screen name was.
So they didn't tell you that I invited Inla or
maybe that's me misremembering world history. I thought the Senate crumbled when everything, because it was Greek, then Roman. Was it Macedonians that took over from Rome? I can't remember.
You know, Ren to get their own screenshots?
No, I didn't know about that until much later. I didn't know about that until I think Thuman was in there. But I didn't get that from Thuman. I think that's when the person came and told me who else was in there.
But you knew at the very least of February 25th that Laka had been invited.
Mm-hmm. Because that's when I was told Laka was in there.
Why question Laka for joining?
Because I didn't think it would be something to be interested in. Because I didn't know why they were in there. I didn't know who all the people in that server were.
Did you say that you had been forced through the logs?
I looked through some of the logs specifically because of what Kumu, or not. I'm going to get you two confused forever. I'm sure you're used to by now. But because of what Kumo said, I primarily just looked at what Peaches had said and put in that server.
Well,
I didn't pour through the rest of them.
Okay. Well, and you said in the Crystal Flame video that it was Xeranthropy that informed you I'd be talking about Peaches.
Xeranthropy?
Yeah, you said that you were informed by somebody else.
Yeah.
And Xeranthropy admitted to going to you about it.
It wasn't Xeranthropy that told me, though. They are a person, but they're not the person who told me.
Okay, but you knew it February 6th that I was going to be talking about Peaches.
Mm-hmm.
Germanic tribes. Okay. And the sack of Rome. Okay. I couldn't remember my lineage, just off top of my head. Sorry.
And that's what led to the rushing of all of this.
No, what led to the rushing of all of this was when Crystal got the logs and looked a little bit more deeply into.
So that would go into like the Moors and all that, I think, is the Germanic stuff
to them. And Peaches was freaked out that you were going to paint them as a predatory individual, which you'll find out soon enough because that call is getting released.
Awesome.
So this is the call that you all had about me and Kumo.
You and Kumo? I don't know if it was about you and Kumo, but this is the call we had with Crystal when Crystal got the logs and came to us the day before, or rather the day Peaches put out that thread.
Oh, so the full February 25th call is being released.
If I recall, I don't know if something's going to be snipped out of it because I'm not the one putting it out. There might be personal stuff in there that's edited out, but I do know it is getting released.
No, I didn't know about that, GG. That's kind of interesting. I didn't.
Am I still in the call, or because everything?
Yeah, you're still here.
Okay, everything just went quiet, so I got a little confused.
Yeah, no, I'm going over some stuff.
Okay.
So aside from the false accusation Supreme comment, which came from an accusation I hadn't even remotely made or was even thinking of making, that came from Peaches. So you took Peaches' assumption and ran with that to YouTube. And
yep. I did, and I can tell you why I did.
I'm listening.
It's because anytime I wouldn't do exactly what Peaches wanted me to do, it would come down to them trying to kill themselves.
Was that for the entire Conundrum video?
That was, well, not the entirety. Obviously, Peaches wasn't even involved with the call that I put out about Conundrum, but I'm talking about most of the time whenever actually not most, 90% of the times when I did something in relation to defending Peaches, there was a lot of background pushing from Peaches about that.
And how long did that continue, this behavior of threatening suicide?
Over a year.
Oh, over a year. Okay.
Yeah.
So what they're talking about now is Peaches suicide baiting Lio with a lot of stuff. And I speculated that some of this happened when we were going through the different like calls and everything that happened in and around the Raven situation and all that. Especially because you can hear the manipulation that happens from one time to the other.
And it only became a topic because Peaches backstabbed you?
No, it became a topic because I wasn't even aware that I was being abused and everything behind the scenes until I started sharing my DMs with people.
So what Lio's admitting to right there is basically saying, look, you know, in hindsight, I now realize that Peaches abused me. Now, whether you want to speculate and say that he's kind of using it as a scapegoat, I guess you could say. I think that's up to interpretation.
You had no idea that the constant threats of suicide were baiting?
No, I didn't, because I take every time somebody does that seriously, and you know some of these things because you know some of the people I've called ambulances for.
All right, I'm going to step this up a little bit more. Forgot how slow they talk. I'll throw a closed captioning on so we can see that.
But this happened for a year, Lio.
Yeah, I'm aware. When somebody has severe suicidal ideation and depression, they are going to have more situations where they might want to kill themselves than other people.
Yeah, but this you're telling me that for a year, this is a repeated pattern of behavior where Peaches would threaten suicide if you didn't do what Peaches wanted.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm telling you. And there are logs that prove that in the video, and there's
I'm not denying
logs as well.
I'm saying like it never clicked up until recently that was a thing that had happened consistently for a year.
No, the fact that it happened was obvious, but the fact that it was a form of manipulation was not to me.
That's interesting. That kind of really stuck with me as far as like why I think Lio needs to step away from this. The fact that it persisted for so long that he didn't realize that he was even getting abused or taken advantage of, however you want to word it, by Peaches is just, he was in too deep, in my opinion, or he allowed people to become too close to him.
Okay. And when was it that you realized that Peaches was manipulating you?
It was a few days after they dropped their doc when I opened my DMs and had conversations with other people who were more versed about the topic of manipulation. And
I agree. And Lio does bring that up, that he actually he did call like some wellness calls. Okay, so I'll use American terms, but understand that, you know, the terminology and things may be different because Peaches is located in the UK, where Lio's located in the US. But basically, he did do a couple. Lio made a couple calls on behalf of Peaches to get them checked out by the police, and actually got a lot of pushback from that, even though they're using this suicide baiting.
And saw what was actually going on, because what Peaches did, and I covered this in the video, as I'm sure you've seen, was made it a point to isolate me from talking to other people about these things. Even the few conversations I've had with Jar about Peaches, I didn't tell him what exactly was going on because I was isolated from that. Heck, I even told Jar a little while ago Peaches wanted me to stop talking to him too.
I can confirm all of that happened.
You know, it's funny to see so many commentary people. You got Krista Nark in this chat, Becca the Krabs, Leia something. God damn, everybody really jumped on this.
An entire year. I'm still stuck on that. I'm trying to wrap my head around that. Like an entire year of Peaches threatening suicide if you didn't do particular things, and you know, being two-faced behind the scenes is something that you show. Or, you know, two-faced or a contradictory, you know, like saying you know, like retard privately but then publicly, like being against it, right? Like all of this, and like these behaviors went on for a year, or was that just the suicide that happened for a year?
The suicide happened for a year. As far as the double standards of what they said publicly versus what they said privately, they always coached to me, and so did Lumi and other people, that saying specific slurs were fine so long as they themselves are on the spectrum and use it in a form of reclamation, which, as I said in the video.
Okay, Lio, I'm going to say something in clear defined English. You know what? I would just fucking avoid the word, man. I don't care if it's in private versus in public. Like, just fucking avoid saying it. It's not worth it, because then you got situations like this where you got people twisting shit and using it against you, and they were okay with it here, but they're not okay with it here. It's too much mental stress, man. Just don't fucking deal with it.
So I didn't give any thought to, because that wasn't something that was in my neck of the woods, so I let them have it.
So, do you remember the video that you ran with Peaches talking about Nyx?
Jackie and Nyx, yeah?
Yeah.
Somewhat.
So do you remember the fact that Peaches talked about the threatening suicide tactic in that video?
Naturally, I remember them talking about trying to manipulate Crystal with that, but a person who does that can also be critical of other people who do while still hiding their own manipulation. How many times have we seen cops that have abused their wives but also will arrest people for domestic abuse?
Fair.
Oh, you did watch this live, Jack? Awesome.
Fair. But this happened for a year.
Yeah, I did.
A year of every time you wouldn't do something Peaches wanted, or you would even, let's take the Among Us example that you specifically put in your video. You left the Among Us game and Peaches threatened suicide.
Exactly, GG. Yeah, don't make rules for yourself or others that are that specific. It's just, you're opening yourself to a lot of fucking issues.
Over that. That didn't like raise any bells, any flags, any whistles.
The only bells and flags and whistles is that this person is unwell, and I'm trying to make it to where they're okay.
Oh, nice.
Mind if I step in here real quick?
Sure.
Okay, first of all, Lio Convoy, this is why people think you're on the spectrum. Gotta pick up on all your social cues, buddy. And as for Akumu, well, you also need to take into account Peaches was canceled harder than Kiro the Wolf. Like I can imagine someone going through some mental stuff long after something like that happened.
I think Jar's making a bit of too much of an excuse here for Peaches. Peaches, as we've seen, okay, we sat through my horrible internet for both of those fucking calls, okay? That happened after the Raven situation, and it's very clear, even going through that is literally in the midst of all this shit. He, whatever, knew what was going on and was well aware of how they could manipulate Lio in order to get the resolutions they want. That's why I only call myself that.
Yeah, but it's the threatening suicide when people don't want to do what Peaches wants, because this is a repeated pattern of behavior that is being said happened for a year and didn't only happen to Lio. And I don't know. I just like I feel like you're 39. You have way more experience in life than I do. Okay, 38, and you have way more experience than I do in life. And that like never like at all. Maybe after the 5th, 6th time this happened, like you didn't think, okay, well maybe something's off here. Why is it every time Peaches is threatening suicide when I won't do something?
Well, no, why would it? Because while I might have better life experience in some case situations, I don't have life experience about everything, Kumo. Or Akumu. I am so sorry. I don't have life experience over everything. There are things Jar had experience with that I don't, which is one reason why, when all this started going down, Jar had a conversation with me, giving me advice on how to handle some of this stuff, because I didn't have experience in this specific realm of what was going on here. There's times Jar will hit me up about things if he needs, and vice versa. While I might be older, experiences aren't universal.
Okay, cops arresting people for DV and committing themselves is an entirely dumb example. Yeah, it is. I was not a fan of that example. Cops are doing a good job. They're paid to. They can't just show up to a TV situation and not take someone to jail. Yeah, I think he's just talking about. He's trying to make a direct connection between the prevalence of police having higher domestic violence in their relationships, even though they know the law entirely. So it's kind of one of those like, look, it can even happen to someone that knows better. This is not uncommon. I think that's kind of what he was going for in the comparison there.
That anybody at any age can be manipulated or abused.
I believe anyone can be manipulated.
Making people bite their tongue is only going to build resentment, which in the long run cause more problems. Exactly. Except Lio, it's like he knows all. Yeah, he gets. I feel like I said, he gets put in his place a little bit in this call. Oh yeah, it wasn't the best example. There was a lot of connections that you had to be able to make in order to understand the connection that he was going for.
But I think that a year of consistent suicide threats is going to make the average person raise an eyebrow.
But again, that goes into my whole thing here. I think that Lio needs to quit the art commentary. Just move to a different community, man. I'm telling you, I think Lio could knock it out of the fucking park doing video essays. And he's basically did that when he did all the Crystal Flame. Look at all the videos that Lio's done. They're basically fucking video essays, okay? Like, he's already doing it. Just get away from the art portion of it. Find a different community. Go after lolcows. Lio, if you went after lolcows, you'd have a fucking blast, man. Go look into White Bowser.
I get you were close with Peaches.
Go look into White Bowser. Oh, I was going to show chat that. After this stuff, after we get through the Lio stuff, I got something to show you.
If it's a consistent thing, like it's one thing, someone has mental health struggles, that makes sense. But if it's a consistent thing where you're being pushed in a corner where either you do what I want you to do or I'm going to kill myself, and this happens multiple times in a year, I feel like the average person is going to raise an eyebrow and be like, okay, this is obviously, I'm being used here in this situation.
It's baiting.
Yep, and you can have that value. You're welcome to it.
I just don't like how Lio dismisses the suicide baiting.
You did say earlier that Peaches had done this to other people, but that's information I didn't get until later.
And until after, like, was it after you had realized?
Yep. I actually.
Lio can be a review tech USA. He knows about the same amount of technology. We'll get into that.
Jar can attest to when I sent him a message of some of the unhinged things Peaches would say to me, he really responded with, yeah, he's done that to me before, LOL.
In fact, Lio might know more about Discord servers.
Yeah, but she wasn't doing it consistently to me for a year. Like, it's a bit different.
Yeah, but my point was that he can attest to the fact that they've done it to other people, or at least they've done it to him. My point is, you brought it up as well. He's done it to other people. That's not something I wasn't even aware of until after I started finding this out, which is why I used Jar as an example, because I sent him to that after I'd found this out.
Okay.
It really is.
And back to the a Crystal Flame conundrum. We'll probably revisit this topic later, but it's just
I went with the Kino Casino stuff on that. We're gonna get into that, and I've got a couple of good other things to add with that.
Yeah, they're two different. They are two different videos, so that makes sense.
You took down the Crystal Flame video recently.
Yep.
But with the in the conundrum video, you say that I'm the false accusations supreme. Then you say that I'm slandering Doodle Tones, but then you admit that the roleplay is real.
Did I say you're slandering Doodle Tones?
Yeah, that's what you said.
Using the word slander?
You want to grab a clip?
Let me pull up my script.
This is where it gets interesting in relation to some of the Doodle Tone stuff.
Can I do that?
Sorry.
can unroom script. Give it a moment to load. All right, so here's what I said specifically about Susie. But a single example may not be enough to convince Akumu's smearing attempts being an obvious ploy. So here's another one. Akumu has been regularly spreading an RP. Susie did when they were a couple of months past 18. An RP Susie herself did not make sexual, but the other party did. In doing research to properly address this, Susie delved into her old logs and found out that she had been groomed. I was there. I saw how she responded to it. It's an awful thing to discover, but
okay, hold on. Let me. You're reading the script, right? Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the clip right now.
No Del Taco out here, Ellington. No Del Taco, unfortunately. I do have Jack in the Box would probably be the closest West Coast version of food that we got out here. That's like 3 hours away. That's down in Missouri. Isn't smearing just another word for slander? Yes.
Where's the video?
This gets into interesting stuff here. Lio kind of gets caught up, in my opinion, with all this discussion with the Doodle Tones stuff. So, okay. I don't know if you guys remember. I covered this, I think, in the first video that we went through stuff. Back when I even started with, like, Mr. Medicare, to give you an idea how far this shit went back. No, he definitely didn't. He definitely didn't pick up on that. And you know what? I think it's slowly playing into it. He might be more autistic than I thought. Like, he may be more autistic than I give him credit for, because he doesn't pick up on wording. He doesn't pick up on certain things. He's able to get bullied by some UK trans suicide baiter. Anyway, so Doodle Tones had a DeviantArt account. Okay, in this DeviantArt account, they progressed slowly, and they kind of went from like just doing the artsy stuff to getting more into the deviant side of things, the degenerate side of things, and eventually got into a lot of artism. Eventually got into a lot of fetish play involving trans and diapers and scat and all that fun shit, literally. Anyway, there's a whole situation that happens where Doodle Tones is doing a role play on a post, and they're going through like the comments role playing, right? Well, in the middle of this, the grandmother for Doodle Tones, whom they were living with at the time, finds out about this stuff and says, delete that shit, get the fuck off of there, what the fuck is wrong with you, right? So anyway, Doodle Tones then goes and deletes all this stuff, but then it makes an alt account and comes back and continues the role play. That is the stuff that we're talking about right here. The thing is that Lio's trying to slide in and basically say that Doodle Tones being groomed kind of makes them more innocent in this situation, and Akumo's position is the fact that they did this shit well before any of this other stuff, so you can't really claim that they're not degenerate in doing all this shit because they weren't groomed until after all of this degenerate stuff started. Basically, that's kind of it in a nutshell. I know it's a lot to explain, but that's what we're talking about.
There it is.
Yep, that did happen, Ellington. Yeah, in the middle of all this, there was a meltdown by Doodle Tones, and they were like, "You guys don't like it because I'm really into this stuff," and you know, with their underwater mic, you guys don't like this because I'm really into this stuff. And okay, that was terrible. Anyway, they basically got kicked from this fucking this DeviantArt degenerate roleplay stuff for basically only being into certain things and not playing into other people's fantasies appropriately. I know, fucking weird, right?
Smear thing in just a second. I'm not going to forget about that. Because if I'm wrong, I'll admit to that. But you said that I didn't talk about fuchsia. You implied it that I had never talked about fuchsia.
Yeah, Jar brought that up to me that you apparently did.
You said that I didn't admit this. We'll get to the smear thing in just a second. I'm not going to forget about that. Because if I'm wrong, I'll admit.
Okay, so he's moving on to a different subject here. So just keep that in the back of your mind. All the stuff that I said about the Doodle Tone stuff, it does come back. Okay, something probably happened to Doodles before Doodle got groomed, but she didn't say anything regarding that. I don't know, because they've muddied that own story on their own behalf. Like, it's changed slightly enough to be annoying. You don't like shitting your pants without some sort of trauma. Oh, fuck. I never even thought about it that way. I'm scarred. Thank you.
To that. But you said that I didn't talk about fuchsia. You implied it that I had never talked about fuchsia.
Yeah, Jar brought that up to me that you apparently did 3 separate times. I actually never went to look at your catalog for that.
Okay, they're talking about Fuchsia Butter, I believe is the name of the account. I don't remember the whole thing with Fuchsia, but I think they cover it a little bit here.
No, but you knew that though.
I knew that you talked about Fuchsia in a
we
video
talked
form.
about that April 1st, 2023.
In video format?
No, we had a phone call April 1st of 2023 where I told you that I talked about Fuchsia. I described Fuchsia Butter server to you in the call.
I'm not going to deny I completely forgot we had that conversation about Fuchsia.
Well, even if you don't remember that call or whatever, you still should have at least corrected it in the pinned comment or something, because like misinformation,
No,
I know that my FCK series videos were often shared in the Synod at various times. Yeah, that's how you've seen the ZZ meme. And I shared a couple of them when I was
you sent me the ZZ thing. You didn't.
Yeah, but I also shared them, and people linked them in Synod.
That doesn't mean that I clicked on them, Akumu. Like, there's things going on in the new server now I haven't seen yet.
I'm saying that it was not only something I told you about, right? But then with my series, which I've been very open about, I had a conversation with you. I know that we've talked about it multiple times, at least we've had 2 or 3 different phone calls previously, and I've talked about the FCK. But the one with April 1st, which was right as we were trying to set up the Nezzy call, I described to you, the fact that the stuff that happened between me and Fuchsia and me talking about the server, I went into a lot of detail about it, and then later.
Didn't Doodle Lapers say they only did it for the perks of disability benefits? I thought I ran across that and something like that was said at some point, but I don't recall fully to really commit to an answer on that. I thought I saw something related to the disability, and that's why they played into the whole fetish stuff.
You claim that, mind you, I've made 3, maybe 4 videos on Fuchsia, and you're saying, you've never talked about Fuchsia. I need accountability directed that way.
Again, I completely forgot that you did talk about Fuchsia. I didn't even go looking at our DMs to verify that. That's on me.
Okay. But in your most recent video, you said because I made a detail mistake of the Rosa call, you implied that my other videos must be riddled with misinformation. But
that's also not what I said there.
You said, yeah.
Let me pull up the script.
Also, while you look for that, I didn't see your full video, Lio Convoy, but did you correct the misinformation about Akumu talking about Butters in the most recent video you made? Did you clear up that misinformation?
I watched it. You did not.
I completely forgot to address that part because of all the other stuff I had to deal with.
And also, keep in mind, I said
this is a little bit of ownership on Lio's point, and I will give him the fact that he's owning up to it, but he needs to follow through with making a correction. That's very important here, and I don't know if he totally grasps how important it is for him to make that commitment to actually do something. By the way, GG, I was looking for all this stuff related to the Medicare Doodle Tones stuff, and I had such a hard time. I could not find anything, and I was looking for that because I figured that shit would be funny, literally.
That you made the implication that my other videos had misinformation in them. Not that I did that.
Yeah, just give me a moment, because I think I know what you're referring to. No, it's going the wrong direction. Of course it did. If Akumu can't get a detail that's literally in the very clip he's playing correctly, then what's that to say about the rest of his videos about all this? Yeah, that is a criticism I could absolutely apply to myself too.
Okay. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Sure.
But the back to the smear thing. Hold on.
Again, that's a good ownership of stuff. Follow through on it, Lio. Follow through on this shit. Don't just spout words and make kind of glaze things over. Follow through with the shit. Now they're gonna get back to the smearing. I love how the smearing comment is related to the shitting people.
Let me figure out which word you used here.
Well, I mean, I had the script again.
Smearing attempts. You said my smearing attempts. So that was you gave.
Yeah, if you find that again, please let me know, GG. Intentional or not, you need to publicly correct it, not solely own it. Exactly, Jibs. Exactly. Hello, by the way, Jibs. How you doing? Yeah, I think that's a perfect criticism right there. If you're gonna spread the misinformation, at least go back and correct it. When you know it's wrong, correct it. Like, okay, I will give you prime examples. I've gotten information that, hey, I did this wrong, or hey, I said that wrong. I think there was even something with my Lio videos that, oh, it was Slimmers and Fursky. I got them confused at one point in my very first Lio video when I was going over the whole timeline. Again, I do all this stuff off the top of my head. I don't have a docket. I don't have a script. I don't do anything. I'm just telling you literally from what I know with all this stuff. But I ended up getting corrected that I confused these two people. What I did was I immediately went into the video. I wrote out a pinned comment, pinned it on there, and I even replied to that comment and said, hey, look, I'm doing a pinned comment to say that there's a correction. That's the best I could do, other than to go back and make an edit with a video and say something. But I figure for what I was doing, no, I've not seen what Fursky looks like. Oh God, but looks sticky to the touch. Exactly, I'm on the same wavelength as you there, Ellington. And spread further.
Gave one example of my supposed smearing attempts, which was the assumption I was gonna frame Peaches as a predator because of the Kumo call, and then you proceed to mention the stuff with Doodles. But how is that a smearing attempt if it actually happened?
Because I think the way you frame the Doodle Tone stuff is, number one, a problem because you're holding them to a standard that you yourself don't want to be held to, reasonably so. I think if I recall correctly, you made it clear that you think some of the things that were done when you were younger, especially with the Madame and Slimmers thing, isn't something people should have hammered onto you so hard about because you were a minor. A lot of the things that Doodles did in terms of the quote-unquote degeneracy, fetish, introduction and stuff like that.
That's not my issue, though.
Give me a second. And I'll let you finish in a moment. I think that bringing up Doodles' past actions when they were a minor or when dealing with a grooming situation isn't always a one-to-one. And I think that when somebody does something foolish...
Okay, I'm going to stop Lio right there. That's the thing, is that he's making excuses for Doodle Tones right here. Lio, you gotta understand what you're making excuses for. And I think you may be caught onto it at the tail end of this. We're going to go through a lot talking about Doodle Tones right here. But you're saying that they were groomed at the same time the fetish stuff occurred. The timeline that is shown to be the truth is very, very, very different. It's showing that the fetishized stuff happened, the grooming happened later. That's important. He can't claim to take accountability if he's going to lie and refuse to hear criticism. Yep, definitely. Lyle would never change or take accountability. He lied about threatening to go to Jack's house. He did actually correct that. I'll give him that. But he did lie initially. With proof, he says, I don't remember, admits to never watching the videos, pointing it out. Yep. Yeah, Necro, you're spot on. He's more full of shit than a septic tank at a military base after Taco Tuesday MREs. Damn, that's specific. Okay, though. Those, what is it? The beefaroni MREs are pretty damn fucking good.
Or out of pocket to that extent when they're younger, there's probably a bigger reason behind it. And I think constantly hammering them on it isn't the right thing to do.
Okay, so my take with the age thing is not that they shouldn't have judged me as hard as they did. I don't ever make that kind of argument. Instead, my whole thing with my series, with all of this, is applying people's standards back onto them. So one of the biggest things that the FCK recurrently did when they talked about Slimmers was they said that, minors shouldn't be falsely accused, vilified, and attacked by adults with such large platforms. So I applied that back onto them. And suddenly, well, what's the excuse with me? Why was it okay to continuously falsely accuse me? That's the argument I made. I didn't say they shouldn't have done so. Just that they say you're not supposed to do that, but then did it themselves.
That's clear and concise. Akumo did a fantastic job of laying out, this is what I'm talking about. I'm saying that when it applied to me, they changed their standards. And they did. We've seen this happen with the ACC and the SCC. Or SS, what a slideshow? SCC. Yeah, SCC. Sorry, I have to get back into the acronyms.
That's the whole thing with my age.
Then perhaps I got my values and yours mixed up in that case. I thought we were simpatico on that.
What is happening is you're trying to call him out on hypocrisy when what he's doing.
Oh, they're good, but you're going to be on the... Yeah, they are good. So they really are. See, I've never tried the fettuccine Alfredo.
Is calling them out on hypocrisy. I think that's where the miscommunication is happening.
It's possible.
On top of that, the reason why people find the Doodle Tones, like roleplay stuff is funny and whatnot and bring it up is because Doodles has denied it for years since it's happened. That's the only reason. Another point
that was pointed out, I think I pointed out in the first video, this goes back to, again, the Medicare thing with making fun of it and people getting really defensive over it and all that, and Doodle Tones is wrapped up in that. There's a lot. Oh my God, you're talking about like fucking 12 years ago, to be honest. 10 to 12 years ago, if I remember right, on timeline. But yeah, for all this time, they keep like going back and forth between, like, sometimes they'll admit to it. Like recently they're admitting and fessing up to it, but previously they denied it ever happened. And no, because they didn't want to tarnish their reputation.
People talk about it. Like with Coyote, the reason why people, they still ragged on Coyote for the scat fetish, but they did it less. And they still do, but they don't do it nearly as much because Coyote doesn't deny it. Okay, he just owns it, at least from what I've seen. He would own it in calls. So that's why there's like a distinction there. It's like when you just own up to it, people care a little bit less. But when you keep dying on that hill,
hasn't Susie owned up to it several times though, based on the videos?
For multiple years, there was denial about it. Actually,
Lio should stick to small worlds. Simpatico isn't helping him beat the autism charges. Oh shit! It's alternating between solid and
yeah, I would like to come in about this. Yeah,
sure.
Like, Doodle Tones was like constantly denying it, saying, "Oh, I'm only part of the BDL adult baby lovers group for research or something," and then like, "Oh, I just drew those diaper artworks for fun," or and then there was, what was his name? I forgot what his name was, but no, not Medicare.
Automagic Critic was it? You talking about
the black kid? What was his name?
I know who you're talking about. That kid Douglas.
That kid Douglas. Yes, I almost called him YouTube dude, but then I was like, oh no, it's not YouTube. Yeah, but that kid Douglas.
Okay, not related to that at all. But can I just admit I can't stand that dude?
What, that kid Douglas is even still around?
Somewhat. I just cannot stand that clown. He is such a pain in the butt. I have history with him.
I find him to be an American treasure, but
this to me was Lio trying to be relatable in this conversation to both Akumo and Jar, because I feel like Lio is feeling like he's getting a little bit of pushback from someone that he is actively friends with, Jar, and then someone who's an adversary coming into this, which would be Akumo. So I feel like he's trying to do this to like smooth things out, again, glaze the situation, but still they're going to drive the point home and prove pretty thoroughly to Lio. I don't think they get into dates in this one, but it's pretty good.
Point is, he was like, oh, the fact that anyone believes that Doodle Tones has a diaper fetish is incredibly stupid. And I was like, no, there's evidence to support that she does. And I wasn't even saying that she did. I just said there's evidence to support that she does, but I don't give a fuck if she has a diaper fetish or not. And then Ponder was like trying to twist that in her video, trying to be like, oh, it doesn't matter if someone has a fetish. You should talk about their arguments or something like that. But I was just trying to point out there's evidence that Doodle Tones has a diaper fetish, but for some reason she keeps denying it.
Okay, so that's something important to point out and understand, like, especially if you're not from this community or anything else. The art commentary community, what he's alluding to, will cover up or de-escalate. I don't know if de-escalate's the word I'm looking for, but they'll kind of like de-escalate the accusations by saying, why are you focusing on this, and try and redirect people to argue about something completely different.
Guys, I have a maid fetish. I have other fetishes as well. I just don't know.
By the way, I didn't need to know all this about Jar.
Up to them, because who cares?
And then, like recently, the recent thing that like you mentioned in your conundrum video is that, Doodles had been groomed. And if you go watch Doodles' video on the whole thing, Doodles says the same thing. And then I knew this was going to happen the second I made my fucking comment. It was going to be victim blaming, even though what we're talking about is the degeneracy that existed before the Doodles had met their groomer, which was November 22nd of 2014.
Okay, so there, he gives the first date. So that's what he's saying is when all this role-playing shit, for lack of a better word, happens.
So Doodles is doing diaper shitting art, age regression, and role playing. In fact, there is a journal. I read it in a video. Maybe you haven't seen it. I can read it if you want. Where Doodles is complaining about how. Actually, let me make sure I'm right about this before I make this claim. Hold on. I want to make
deflect.
sure.
Thank you. Perfect word.
Where is it?
Deflect and redirect. That's what they do.
I know that there is a journal that Doodles made, and I'm fairly certain it came out before they met their groomer. To take this with a grain of salt, because I can't find the screenshot right now, or I'd show it. It's probably on my other drive, but. It's something about I swear I read it in the video somewhere. I just can't.
I mean, saying I have a maid, like I have a water survive. We all got to do a pal.
I think of the specific video because I don't think it was the main one on the degeneracy. But anyways, so there's a journal where Doodles is complaining.
Gil did stuff. Was that the one where he's basically said he fixed a pipe? I can't remember. I watched one of Gilded's recent videos. Gilded's an interesting person to me. When I talked to him a little bit in one of Leia's streams, and I straight up asked dude, I'm like, look, you're a troll, correct? Like, I want to get this on record for me out in the air. And he's like, yeah. He's like, that's why I have my moniker the way I do, with my caricature, my OC, whatever you want to call it, being a literal shithead. Like, he's like, that's literally what I'm trying to portray. Yep, especially set of tears. You want to do quick that. You try to disagree, and those clowns that want to deflect, dogpile, throw crap at you. It has nothing to do with the main point. Oh, the one he put out today, I have not watched.
That people don't like transgenders and diapers being forced into the role plays. So, I'm going to quit role playing because people are upset.
That's funny.
So that was before the groomer was met. So the degeneracy existed before that. And yet if you talk about it, you and Doodles and Doodles' audience bring up the grooming as if the grooming explains, why Doodles was being a degenerate.
Well, Doodle has actually addressed that in their own video, especially recently. My concern was because of the specific incident that was cited primarily by Madlibs, who's their own bucket of weirdness, that was going to be used primarily as the dunking point against Doodle Tones for the degeneracy, as you would say, when that specific conversation, that specific roleplay.
What do you mean by as I would say? You don't agree that
degeneration and age regression in and of itself is not a sexual thing inherently. There are some people who have made it that, and there are some people who
have
diaper shitting. Diaper stuff, yeah, that is a fetish. Okay, I'm using your terms here, is what I'm saying.
Okay, all right.
So he does actually kind of.
The problem was the example. The problem was the example.
To admit to that the diaper stuff is a fetish. He won't budge on this age regression thing, even though he kind of changes his position later on when Crystal Flame is in the call when they're talking about Peaches with the age regression. Now, I don't know if they're trying to keep it specific to the fact that they think Peaches is faking it, but he's still guilty of. Look, I don't know what the whole story is with that. Like, apparently, according to him, he had a hard drive. It was a joke. He wrote that stuff on there, never actually had it. But then you go to the other side of things and people are like, no, he actually had stuff and it was proven and everything else. But I've never delved deep enough into Gilded to know what is the truth on him, what is a fabrication, what's a troll. And it gets really hard to discern, especially, GG, like when you're looking into a troll account, it's really hard to discern truth from fiction. So
in this specific scenario was one that was pushed by somebody who was grooming them.
Wait, hold on. What?
The DeviantArt one, right? Because that's the one that
you're saying this claim was
about.
pushed by someone that was grooming Doodles.
No, I'm saying that the roleplay in that DeviantArt back and forth that you were talking about, that Madlib talked about, was with somebody who was grooming them. That's what Doodle Tones was talking about in their video.
No, Kirby's not Alex. Alex is the groomer. They met November 22nd of 2014. Kirby was a completely separate individual. I checked the accounts.
This is important because I think Lio had some very severe misunderstanding here. As far as like who the groomer was, and I think this is just him getting confused because shit gets confusing. Like I don't really have a good answer other than that's what he does. He won't budge any age regression because Gilded kept bragging on him in the relationship with the age regression. Age regression can be a coping mechanism, but it can also be a fetish. Anyone who does it makes it sexualized is a massive weirdo at best. Definitely agree with that. He's just faking like a 50 Cent hooker. Because he only downloaded it to use it to troll people, so it sounded like a cope to me. Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm still undecided on Gilded. Pooh is really an interesting character. You're probably too polite for his server. I don't know, Ellington. I can be a little more audacious. What I present to you guys is maybe a little more humbled than I actually am. I try to be unbiased. That's my thing. When I go over all this stuff, I want to be unbiased. I want to give it a fair shake. And you know what? People change, things change, so I always try to take that into account. I laid down to get rid of a headache and I lost hours. You're fine, Jim. Welcome. Gilded isn't as bad as people think. And from talking with him, Gilded was pretty chill when I talked with him. Yeah, chips. On the same level.
Okay, I'll double check on that because that was the understanding I had.
And if you want, I don't know if the thread's gone, I do have it like archived. I think it's on the Wayback Machine. But yeah, they're two separate individuals.
Well, while I got you here, I do have a real quick question. In that you did at some point claim that Doodle Tones came back on an alt. Where did you get that image from? Because I couldn't find that.
Oh, here, I can give it to you right now.
This is interesting because this is an implication that a lot of people, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to chat to see if they picked up on it. But it wasn't really picked up in this call by Lio, in my opinion, or by Jar. Like, that Doodles is going back trying to erase the past. Gilded is just a troll, from what I can tell. Yeah. And that's what he said to me when I spoke with him in Leia's chat. Like, he was pretty upfront about it and everything else, and I was like, I get it. I like Gilded, especially as a fellow South Missouri River unapologetic troll. Yeah, it's kind of an extreme thing to do. I could say the same about Sen. Doesn't change what he's accused of. Yeah, and there's a lot of similarities between when you think about the Sen situation and Gilded. There's a lot of similarities that can be drawn there because Gilded did something out as a troll, and then the Sen situation, he's being labeled with something that he didn't even do, honestly. That's a whole mess. I mean, he lied about shit, but it's a whole nother thing. So I have got an interview if you ever want to watch it on my channel, Jack. I interviewed Mr. Sen. Mr. Sen's got a pretty decent sized channel. He was a very chill dude. I really enjoyed the interview. This guy's accused of being a lolicon and being even as far as like being accused of being a PDF file and all that, when realistically, he was trolled by an account that was actually run by somebody who is very highly potentially, what is allegations and all opinions. I'm using all these words so that way I don't get claimed of actually being a pedophile. This person was roughly my age, like mid-30s, and talking to a young Sen who was a young teenager. And what happened was there was bargains and backdoor deals made to where they got these chat logs and went after Mr. Sen and accused him of all this other horrible shit. And meanwhile, they let the bad person get away. It was a middle-aged person pretending to be like 18. So it was pretty bad one. But yeah, I mean, there's I don't know, I see a lot of similarities between things, and like denying stuff and then but trolling mentality and all that, it gets to be very muddied, so you don't know the truth. Yeah, the chat logs were, I don't know, I chalk it up to horny teenager, to be honest. I mean, horny young guy, and he's talking to someone, he was trying to get some sex. I kind of get it. It's not my generation, obviously, but I get it.
It's so you scroll down on the thread. So Doodles has two accounts, SD the Doodler and I think Doodle Tones. And Doodles made a journal. Medicare actually talked about this journal, and it was regarding the sudden censors is the title of the journal. It should still be up. And this was made the same day, by the way. I think I don't actually. I'll send it to you, but I'm certain it's May 15th. But I'll just send it to you. Where are you at in DMs?
You mean I'm not on the top? I thought you talked to me.
No. Where's it at?
The subtle. No.
I know I have it on this drive though, so that's the good news.
Here, I'll message you directly. Put back to the top of your list.
No, I found you now. I'm just trying to find the screenshot. Where is it? Yeah, right here. So here is the journal first to prove that this was Doodle returning on annulled, mentioning that they're moving accounts. Yeah, so I was right. May 15th, 2015. And then the actual roleplay. Hold on. I think it's.
Yeah, Jack. If you're saying what the fuck to the whole sin situation, it's a really bad one. I still think it's awful what they allowed him to get away with. But whatever. But yeah, back to Doodle Tones here and the dual accounts, and there's some real suspect stuff that's about to come up.
One of these two messages. I'm about to send you two things. It's one of these two screenshots right here. Well, actually, hold on. I think I can just send you several screenshots here.
Yeah, you should.
Oh, right here. Perfect. Okay.
Sorry, I forgot my camera was off.
All right. And here it is, incoming.
Da-da-da, come on.
There you go.
All right.
And if you want a whole recording of the entire thing showing that it goes from one account to the other.
Well, my question is, where did you get this from? Was this the Wayback Machine?
No, this is on. You go to the roleplay. So you go to the Game Girl.
I did, and I could not find this.
You couldn't find it on the Game Girl post?
No.
Did you not see the Kirby comment?
Maybe it's been a while since I've looked, to be 100.
Because I have a recording of the whole thing to prove it. If Doodles, because if you're saying it's not there, it's either maybe it wasn't loading or Doodles deleted it. But I can give you an entire recording of like the whole fucking thing.
Okay.
Here, I'll upload it to a Google Drive.
But I want you to be aware my value with this might be different than yours, because usually when people who were minors wind up in these spaces, there's something else wrong going on. So I'm not going to condemn Doodle Tones for any of this as they are now. Just like I personally don't think I should condemn you inherently for things that happened when you were younger during the Madame situation.
I don't know how totally excusable that is. A teenager with all the hormones and everything going on in their body. I know I'm going to talk about shit here and it's going to sound awful. So close your moral ears if you don't want to hear it. Teenagers look up porn. They're getting off to stuff. They're going through puberty. It's life. So to say they only end up here because of bad things in their life, I feel is like really dismissive. People end up in shit, and like when you're young, you're figuring out what your kinks are and every fucking thing else. Like, look, I think that Doodles had these kinks. They found out this is what I get aroused to, and they went after it that way. I don't know if there was necessarily anything that personally like traumatizing that happened to make Doodles end up there. They could have just been exploring fetishes, and that's where they ended up, and that's what aroused them, and that's what they enjoyed, and then they ended up there, and then horrible things happened. This is a true progression of things that can happen. Why are we doing remedial health crisis? Oh. Sorry. I'm sorry if I damaged anybody's virgin ears with these concepts, but
I think there were some problems there. I think you conducted yourself poorly, but it's not something I don't think you could have learned from.
Yeah, but I think Akumu's big issue is the consistent lying.
But yeah, you're definitely right, GG. I mean, this is all covered in health class in school.
And covering up of it. I think that's what his issue is.
As a community, by the way, it wasn't an effort just from Doodles. It was people around Doodles. I've got screenshots gathered of Doodles' audience. So aside from just people around Doodles, friends with Doodles that have denied it, Doodles themselves, and then also audience members that outright deny it being true. So that's my issue.
Let me ask you directly.
Let me see what's going on here. Just woke up, I see our community stuff, and I feel so lost because the ACC is absolutely insane. Yes, welcome to the insanity. We're going over Doodle Tones. Akumo's doing a pretty good job of explaining things right now. As far as like, okay, Doodle Tones was doing some degenerate stuff and then got groomed. Lio's trying to make excuses for it, in my opinion. And Akumo is trying to show straight facts and break down a line of what happened. Yeah, Lio's full of shit. Was on Ogreish and Rotten and porn sites by 13. No childhood trauma. Yeah, didn't turn out to be a psycho. Contributing to society just fine. Parents matter. Yep. Technically speaking, seeing weird stuff can cause trauma. No, okay, all right. I kind of get what you're saying. 2 girls, 1 cup video is popular. Oh God. People were scarred by that. Yeah. Paraphilia. Yep. I can definitely see that. I'm not even in there. And it's insane. Oh yeah. This is a special level of insanity. And you know what? If it wasn't for the fact that I dug all the way back to freaking pre-Gamergate looking at this stuff, I'd probably be lost right now as far as what the hell they're talking about. But unfortunately, I know what's going on.
What would you want from Doodle about this?
Just flat out honesty. But just instead of like, for example, I don't know if you've seen, did you watch Doodle's video addressing that roleplay one last time?
I did, and I know that they talk about it again in their most recent video too, where they do say that they admit that they were involved in these groups.
In that video, the addressing that roleplay one last time, there's a.
That's the thing, is they're now saying, yes, I was involved in this stuff, but they're trying to change the timeline and saying that I was groomed and then got involved in this stuff to kind of excuse stuff away. And then it's excused away. Yeah, exactly. Not saying anything weird, but Kuma's whole point of own it, we will drop it. Yeah, I agree strongly. Hey, Suntendo, how you doing? I agree strongly with what Kuma's saying. Like, just be honest about it. It's the fact that they're flip-flopping about this and going back and forth, and it's like, what the hell do you trust? Like, you can't trust their word because they keep changing the story. And 2 girls, one, yeah, the jar one. Oh my God, that was awful, Necro. I know the video you're talking about. Oh, you're bringing back horrors of meat spin and goatsy and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about that again, Suntendo. I really hope I didn't bring that shitstorm down on you guys. Yeah, for anybody wondering, I received a strike on my account for covering that little furry bastard Husker. They didn't like what I wrote in my description, apparently, and struck my video down. And I've been fighting YouTube to try and get it reinstated. So that's why there's no Husker video right now. I have meme. It's a picture. Oh God. I'm in the big leagues, right? So yeah, but Sonatendo unfortunately was also struck in this. Slug YT, if you want to go check him out, he tried helping me out a little bit with seeing me get struck, and now he got struck. Who knows, this part's gonna get clipped out of the VOD for sure, because I don't need another strike. I've already had to create a Strictly Spurging, by the way, if you want to check it out. Is now my archive channel for different shit. It's got all the Mama Max uploads have been moved to that channel because I just do not want to risk stuff at this point. Yeah, the kid fetishes. Yeah, that the only thing that had been worse is me getting struck by that fucking Brian Miller furry bastard. That'd have been bad.
Clip that's played from an older video where Doodles claims to have been made on
the one that thinks children get eaten for Christmas. All right, I'm gonna rewind this. I'll wave at my camera so I know where to end the cut.
In that video, addressing that roleplay one last time, there's a clip that's played from an older video where Doodles claims to have been made uncomfortable by the Kirby roleplay. And that's contradicted, because if you're uncomfortable with something, why would you come back to continue it? That's why I brought up the fact that the SD, the Doodler account, returned to continue the roleplay. So it's all I want is like an admission, and then that's it. Like,
so what Akumo's getting to here is the fact that, like I stated a little while back now, that Doodle Tones had this account. The initial account got taken down because the grandparents or the grandmother saw it and was like, "You're a fucking degenerate, get off this shit. You're gonna go to church," or whatever the fuck they said to him. I seriously think that was said at some point. But they end up being like, "Nah, I'm gonna run with my degenerate ways," and makes another account and comes back to this weird fetish roleplay. And they're trying to run the narrative of trying to think of how to say this, that the grooming caused the degeneracy, and that you don't know what it's like to be groomed and be in that position, so their actions are excusable. And meanwhile, Akumo's going, no, this happened, then the grooming happened. Their actions are not excusable. They need to just fess up to it and own it and stop being this dancing back and forth and changing the narrative. To be fair, it's like this. He might, for some of the stuff that he says. Slug can be pretty freaking wild. What brand mic do I have? I'd have to look it up. It's a no-name little off-brand one. Here, you know what? I'll do this possibly really quick. I know I got it on Amazon. See if it allows me to do what I want to do here. I'll let this play while I look that up, but I'll get you that, Jibs.
I don't need, well, I was made uncomfortable, but actually, in truth, I showed up on an alt account to continue it. Because I think that's contradictory. I don't think...
I get why you...
come back
well, that's not inherently true. I get why you think that, but there's been plenty of times where people have been uncomfortable with things and they'll still come back to those things. I've seen it happen quite a bit, specifically in things that they feel they're pressured into or things that they feel they're getting attention from. I've seen that happen a lot of times with people just letting their entire boundaries and everything down because of other reasons on top of that while they were still uncomfortable. So I don't think that's inherently a contradiction, personally, based on the experiences I have about things like that.
If you make an account because your grandmother has found out about it, and so you make a new account, and then you return on that new account. Mind you, this would have been a perfect opportunity for Doodles to just drop it, right? Because if they were uncomfortable with where it was going because of the underage character being groped, that was what has been said. They had the perfect opportunity right then and there to just not continue it. That would have been an absolute perfect opportunity. Oh, you know.
And so what Akuma's saying right here is basically, you know, they had the account that got deleted. If they were truly traumatized by this, and all this grooming fed into things, they wouldn't, they had a clean break. They didn't have to come back to the role play. There was no no one expecting them to come back. Expectation, that's the word I'm trying to look for. There was no expectation for them to come back to this. I did do a lot of modifications, like totally off topic, Jibs, in my OBS that made this mic sound so much better. I found a couple of walkthroughs and had to do a bunch of filters and did like noise gate suppression and all that, and I had to learn how to organize all that. But yeah, I want to say mine's similar to the On one for like $25. There's a couple different, there's like mono, fine or five fine or something like that. I want to say this is five fine, or no, wait, it's beat run, and it's, I can't see because it's dark. BIETRUN. Okay, back to the video.
Because, you know, my grandma found out about the account, so I moved accounts, you know, whatever. That would have been a perfect opportunity, but instead, a new account was made. And one of the earliest things that account does is return to that conversation to continue it.
And I can understand where your value from that comes from, but you're also looking at this from an outsider who's not in that position. Because it's been no shortage of situations where people will say, well, if I was in that situation, I would have done this. But we're also looking at things as an outsider perspective without even having all the pieces. Something Doodle even admits they don't completely have anymore, because a lot of the...
Jibs, here, what I'll do is, me do this. Go through one of these links and get a hold of me on either, like, I don't know, Twitter, if you got Twitter or whatever. I'll send you all that stuff. Or you want to do Discord if you're more comfortable with that, just let me know. Get a hold of me. Let me know you're wanting that stuff, and I'll send it to you.
Logs from other chats they were in just don't exist anymore. So you and I sitting on the outside saying, well, this would have been a perfect opportunity, this would have been that.
No problem.
While that could be true from our perspective, we don't inherently have all the pieces there. And
Has
we don't know
implied that there's something more to the Kirby roleplay?
No, but I know Nil has.
The guy with brain, I mean, the girl with brain damage?
Yes, but Nil's value on this was very interesting, because Nil's like, what if they've been groomed in one specific way in a fetish group of people who knew they were a minor? What's to say it didn't happen in other situations too that might have also, you know, led to this?
And now they're trying to extrapolate the whole thing, where it's, they have this known account of grooming with Doodle Tones, and now they're extrapolating, saying, well, they're obviously in this degenerate stuff. This has likely happened before, and I don't feel like that's a fair point to draw out with this. I feel like, I don't know how to explain it. I feel like they're making up excuses on behalf of Doodle Tones, and all Doodle Tones has got to do is just own up to the fucking timeline.
Yeah, I just don't think Call Me Nil is the best source, because
Did you make an entire video saying that Nil was...
I'm not saying they're a good source. I'm saying that they make an interesting argument concerning this.
All right.
Yeah,
that's why I said from Nil of all people.
Oh, okay. But I think Akumu's like magnum opus problem with this is the constant lying, the constant covering up of what happened.
Yeah, because if it's not okay, well, you know, I didn't have that fetish. I just, what was, I think the original argument was, I don't have the fetish. I'm just interested in it. It's not a fetish. I'm just interested in it. And then it switched to, for a good while, just not, you know, acknowledging it. For a good while, painting it as though this is like false accusations, all this shit was photoshopped. Now, Doodles has never outright claimed that, but Doodles' audience has. So I'm saying, like, overall, I take an issue with that. And, you know, like, for example, that video, instead of just, you know, saying, yeah, I did it, and I haven't done it since, moved on. It's, oh, well, I did it, but I was uncomfortable with it, but I'm not going to mention that I returned on the account to, like, I seriously don't think that if someone's uncomfortable with the conversation, they're going to come back on a new, fresh.
This literally is pretty damn similar to the whole like Katie Bug situation with George Not Found. I don't know if any of you guys know about that situation with the Minecraft community. It was a crazy thing where he apparently built up this girl after they were cuddling for a long time, apparently fooling around, depending on whose story you believe. But at one point, consistently in both stories, this person gets up, walks away to say goodbye to somebody, comes back and puts themselves back in the same situation. Now that's where the whole dynamic comes in of, are they comfortable? If they're comfortable, they're obviously comfortable if they're coming back, is one assumption that comes from it. But then they're trying to argue the fact that they don't know what to do in that situation, so they're just going to go back to keep the calm. So that's both sides of the argument that you're hearing here on behalf of Doodle Tones as well. People invading this made the whole thing so messy. Why people had to defend Doodle Tones and not just let Doodle speak and be done with it. It gets so convoluted having so many people inserted. Yeah, and then you get all these interjection and theories and, you know, theory crafting or whatever the hell it's called, where they're trying to create a narrative. And like, the thing is that Doodle Tones is not going to commit to any particular narrative, because then that gives them the flexibility to deny it later on. So it's just, I don't know. I don't trust Doodle Tones. I don't. I think they're a very manipulative person, nearly as manipulative as Peaches is. I think that's been proven. It's been proven a lot. And I think that Lio is getting manipulated again by this person, and he may or may not realize it.
Account to continue it for, you know, for as long as they did. The roleplay went on for a month. I don't think that's something like, if you're uncomfortable, because one of the earliest things that happened in the roleplay, sorry, Chad, I have to get in the specifics here, was the character being rubbed. And so you're uncomfortable with it. It goes on for a month. You come back on. I don't think that's indicative of being uncomfortable with it. Maybe later on you can say in retrospect, yeah, that makes me really fucking uncomfortable. I can't believe I did that. But saying, oh, I was uncomfortable in the moment of doing it, I can't buy that.
Okay, well, you don't have to. It's not inherently a value that everybody's going to agree with, but that's where you stand. That's where you stand.
Okay, what was the other thing that we were going to talk about that we sort of skirted away? Because we talked about
So they kind of end up with the whole tipster, agree to disagree, nothing's settled with this. I am strongly on Akumo's behalf here. I do think that Doodle Tones needs to just fucking own up to it completely and fully. Don't make up narratives. Don't use other people's narratives. Just lay out your fucking timeline. I don't know. They're all manipulative liars. Every time something bad comes out, their pronouns change and suddenly remember being groomed by a person they refuse to name. They're all the same. Yep, they're all shit people. The thing that's hard to trust anyone in something like this. Doodle, the defenders of Doodle, the people going after Doodle, everyone all the way around is sketchy. They all have their own positions and their own narratives that they're trying to seek, right? So I mean, you're 100% there too, Jim.
The whole smearing attempt thing.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. That's how we got into the conversation we're in right now.
There wasn't something else we were going to bounce back to?
Maybe.
Chat, help us out here. Was there something else we were going to bounce back to?
Okay, I'm going to fast forward because there's okay, so this gets into, I don't know if we really want to get into this right here. It gets into why Akumo was removed from the server. There was a lot of miscommunication and misunderstanding. I don't think this really applies. So I'm going to, did anybody freaking timestamp this yet? Look, you know what? Lio, why don't you do that as a job? Start timestamping videos for people. Let's go back a little. Okay. Okay, they're still talking about pizza here. Misunderstanding.
That is the only time me and Peaches interacted, and I replied, and I could have easily replied in October about the irony of something.
Did Peaches at least mention you in their Madame?
This is getting into whole Peaches manipulating the situation and getting Akumo kicked out of different places. Again, I don't think it really applies. Okay, this was interesting. Getting into his definition of like weird people and stuff. I'm gonna rewind this back a bit.
That I'm signed up on a Christian website and then a bunch of porn websites through my YouTube email. And this was done very.
So after he gets he's like gonna release his video on Peaches, Akumo is, and then all of a sudden he gets signed up for a whole bunch of malicious like different porn and Christian and spam websites. Basically, somebody signed him up for, and he's like, it's kind of coincidental that it all happened around this time. No miscommunication, speech is holding their breath until they get their way. Exactly. That's perfect way of putting it. Yeah, there's a few of them use trans as a shield when arguing. Oh, you didn't use my program, so only to disagree with me. Yeah, because I'm trans. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You got it, John. I mean, it's right. They use the whole pronouns and trans stuff as a shield at points, and it's kind of the thing that, like, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna be very, very, very fucking honest right now. That's what a lot of people fucking hate when it comes to the transgender stuff, is that when people shield themselves with this kind of stuff instead of taking ownership for their actions. I feel like a lot more people would be a lot more understanding if it wasn't used as frequent as it is to deflect an argument or change a narrative.
Clearly by someone who knows about what's going on online, because the username, one of them was chronically online, I think, something like that. So
no, Akumu, I don't know your email address, but I had people do something similar to me. Somebody tried to create a Dropbox account with my YouTube email.
So
okay, so just weird people.
This was an accusation going back and forth of, hey, Lio, were you the one that signed me up for all these weird websites just before my video came out?
Wanted to ask directly because...
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I've heard some other things happen too, but no, I had nothing to do with any of that, and I don't know anybody who would. Like, that's kind of beyond what we would do in general.
I don't think so, because you've doxed people, haven't you?
When you say dox, let's get our terms right. Do you mean finding somebody's information, or do you mean publicizing it? Because that's what doxing is. It's publicizing it.
Yeah, publicizing it.
I have done that to predators, and I have done that to scumbags. Are you a predator?
Could you elaborate on the scumbags? What the scumbags?
Scumbag would be a sexual harasser, an obsessive stalker who makes physical threats. So, to give you an example, I would do that to, say, Kara the Wolf. I would do that to, say, these are hypothetical. Could somebody like Cord Kitty. There's a few other people that I've covered in my video content that have been absolute degenerates. So doing it to them is something, but let's say somebody that you might be aware of, the Hey It's Cosmic person. I didn't do that to them because while their actions are scummy, they don't breach that moral horizon. So I don't think putting out their name would be appropriate.
Okay.
So that's the thing that's very, very interesting, is this whole concept of who to dox and who not to dox is a very morally based thing for Lio. And it's just, I don't know. I can understand the position of, like, it's public information, and he gets into it a little bit more here, but having it be public information and he's just spreading it, publicizing it, whatever term you want to use. He doesn't actually go in and maliciously get information that is private and spread it in any certain way. And then he's only spreading that public information that he obtains on people that he morally thinks is bad. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that, Jim. Oh shit.
And what about the I saw your recent video when you talked about the Jack stuff, and Jack's hounding you and being an annoying 15-year-old.
This gets into an interesting situation here.
16-year-old. But my issue with that, hold on, actually, I need to send this invite to Crystal, but I'd like to have talk about that. You say in the call that you're going to ruin his life, and then later on you do call the school. You say that you didn't say that he was going to shoot up.
Lio gets very defensive here. And so I'm going to go back just a couple seconds so we can hear everything in totality. Moving to goalposts and there's rotten teeth. Yeah, Jibs, we're getting into the Jack stuff now, but it all applies.
You're going to ruin his life, and then later on you do call the school. You say that you didn't say that he was going to shoot up the school.
Correct.
But when Jax was interviewed, he said that the school thought he was going to shoot up the school. So where would the school get that in communication? If
I have absolutely no idea, because I had to correct them multiple times. As you saw in that screenshot, would you like a more direct image of that screenshot?
Yeah. Wait, you saying you corrected? You corrected the school and like?
Yeah, because I called the school, I gave them the basic information, and I made it very clear when I talked to them. And again, I shouldn't even be talking about this publicly, because I said in the video I wouldn't go forward with that because he tends to be unhinged when you do so. I told them he has not made a single threat to the school. And I had two people after that initial report call me saying, so was he making threats to the school? No, he's not making threats to the school. That's why I was so frustrated in my DMs with Sarah. It's like, will they please stop and actually pay attention to what's being said here?
I mean,
here's the problem, Lio. With what you did, you automatically put processes in action. So when you call a school talking about a kid with a gun, you're going to trigger alarm bells for these people. Whether you intended it, let's put it that way, or not, it's going to trigger the fucking alarm bell. So you can sit there and say, no, I told them, no, I told them, no, I told them. But no matter what, like chat says right here in the chat, you still call the school. It's gonna fucking happen. I wish Jack's parents would see the shit out of his ass, and the fact that he called the school was bad enough. He called the school and mentioned guns, gangs, and all that, and they were going to take it serious. Exactly. It just, When you mention certain keywords, it's going to put things in action. He was a major threat. I have no idea where they got that idea. Yeah, the accountability dodging here is amazing until Lio cannot dodge it anymore. He's going to get backed into a corner with this shit. And Akumo, I applaud you, man, for what you did to put him in the corner to fess up to something here.
I still think it's a little deranged to call the school to begin with.
Well, that's why I've apologized for that. That was out of pocket. Again, where is that screenshot?
And I'll put it up on stream if you send it to me.
Okay, just give me a minute. I have over 200 images for the video itself, so it's going to take me a moment to find. Okay, there's some of that. Okay.
Jeez, Crystal is taking forever to join the call.
Well, to be honest with you, I just sent the link because I kind of forgot.
Nice.
Okay. Well, hold on. This is a screenshot with Queen Seraphina.
Yeah, the day I did it.
School has been informed. Resource officers, police are going to snatch him up and give him a good scare.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that? Hold on. What about this? Did you think was a good idea? Hold on. I'm going to put this on screen. I promise to do so. Hold on. I'm just trying to wrap my head around this here.
Yeah.
Hold on. Share screen. Yep. Share screen. Where's it at? Window. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone can see it. School has been informed. Resource officers, police are going to snatch him up and give him
a good scare. Yep. Essentially letting him know.
That was a good idea.
Because when you have somebody who is talking about being in gang affiliations and owning firearms when they are a child, that is something that probably needs to be looked at in one way or another. The good scare is, hey, your actions don't exist in a bubble. That's what that was in relation to.
But you know why he brought those things up, right?
Actually, no, I didn't sit there and think about it.
I don't know if I could totally believe Lio here. When I listen to the Jax call, and even when Jax calls in, because Jax calls in this stream a little bit later on, I think that I still, to this day, the kid acts like a kid. He acts like a 15-year-old kid trying to troll and be a dick online. Like, he's a kid. Like, I just don't understand how Lio totally misconstrued this entire situation.
Chest thumping until later on, which is again why he would apologize to.
Okay, you say what you did was wrong. Okay, but when you gave, like, do you have any evidence of you saying sorry directly to him?
No, I don't.
Yeah, John, you've got it. All because the Sweefies got hurt by a 15-year-old. Stood up to him, and the coward little deletes any comments calling him out left and right because he's straight up. I don't think the school should have been called. Jack's behaviors were concerning, but the school is going to jump to conclusions, especially given everything going on. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if anything. So Lio called the resource officer, which triggered everything, and it went through, and it probably went all the way up to like the principal and the superintendent, which is why there was back conversation asking, hey, is this a threat to us? I mean, they're going to ask that question. It's a threat assessment. It's a risk assessment is what they're doing. And I don't know. I think that this is something that should have been handled outside of the school. I don't think the school should have ever been involved, Lio. I mean, you need to really understand how much you escalated this entire situation just because you called the school instead of the parents. And his excuse is that the parents are disabled. I think they're hearing impaired or something. Write an email. I mean, they weren't blind. I believe they were deaf. Absolutely insane how this escalated. Yeah, it really is. Lio could just kept his nose out of it. Kept stuffing his face with Taco Bell, B, Blackjacks, or C, both. If you want Lio to get mad and just say he's playing with dolls. Oh god. I can see how that would get to him.
Did you have you replied to a comment of his saying sorry?
Actually, no. In the call that I showed a clip from, I literally said that it was wrong that I did that.
And when was the call held?
Ooh. I can't remember the exact day, but it does have the video timestamp, or not timestamp. It is in the video where I do talk to him about that. And I've talked to him multiple times about this afterwards. It's one reason why I went out of my way to try to help him when he was in trouble. Multiple times. Whether it be him mixing up with predators for some goofy reason, or getting in trouble with other weirdos that were angry at me, or...
So Lio's, they are deaf. Okay, so yeah, an email would have worked just fucking fine. So what Lio retroactively is trying to make up for a poor decision on his behalf by helping this kid out later on. But this kid literally fucking trolled him. And for whatever reason, Lio can't see the fucking forest through the trees. And he thinks that just because he helps him, it's going to make up for this shit. I think at most what he could have done was just an email to the parents, making them aware. Exactly. Let the fucking parents handle it. This is as far as I'm concerned, this is an internal matter. This is the same thing as like when somebody, oh God, okay. I think I live in Iowa. So I think back, there was a situation that was like really popularized where a guy got Bush Beer he got involved with Bush Beer and got like a big promotion and everything else with him. And then he got canceled. I still don't believe in that, but that's another subject. He got canceled because somebody dug in his past and found out some comments that he made when he was 16, and then he had to go on this big apology tour and everything else. Like, that's kind of what Lio did here in a nutshell. My comments are blocked from his channel. I made him mad over dolls. Oh God. People can interpret Lio saying that there's no threat to school over and over and over when we touch it. Sorry. Wanted to see how he would handle trolling. And you know what? Like, it's kind of interesting that he chose to block you, but then chose to escalate this situation. I don't know.
Even telling him that trying to get someone to trace some girl he's interested in isn't right.
Okay, so did you speak with him all in one go, or is this all separate calls?
Oh, this is.
And see, what Lio's doing now is he's taking the narrative of, okay, what I did with Jax is bad, but then he's also still asking me to do stuff. Even so, I, out of the kindness of my heart, went out there and helped out this kid after I fucked up his life. Not really, but really. And tried to make it up to him by doing all this good stuff. And then he tried to overuse that because he's a bad actor and was asking me to do all this weird stuff. That's what Lio's really doing right here. And this is the part where I'm like, meh.
These are all separate incidents. Like, I had communication open with him for a long time after that call. It wasn't until last year that I blocked him on anything.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if it were an actual threat, call the police. If you don't think it's a threat and it's more of like what he's trying to state here, it should have been passed to the parents. Nailing him. The comments last week. Telling him the same stuff. Oh, God. Same thing happened with Colton with the ref. Yep. Defending crazy. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Would you guys like me to step in here real quick?
Well, he doesn't. Well, I don't think he recorded the call with the school.
Well, no, I was at work.
And
I don't know how to record things on mobile.
Wait, you saw? Hold on. Wait, you were at work when you called them?
Yeah, because it was during work hours.
The call with Jackson Serafino was while you were at work.
No, the call to the school was when I was at work.
Why would you stop? Why would you stop? Well, one, anyways, you're beefing with this 15-year-old, and you're in this back and forth of an intimidation thing. The whole gun thing was very obviously to try and intimidate you back.
To you,
what do you mean to me?
Exactly what I said.
You don't like, okay, you were like 36 at the time, right? You're saying
at the moment I did not perceive it as an intimidation tactic. No.
If you show up to my house, I'm going to shoot you. That's not him trying to.
He nails him really good. Akumo nails Lio pretty damn good on this point. To the point that Lio gets into a position where he's like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this. There's going to be a little bit of doxing in the middle of this. Not like doxing like something's going to be exposed on the stream. We're safe. But you're going to hear about the pizza situation.
To intimidate you back so you don't show up? That didn't register at all?
Well, considering the fact that he went on about how he was in gangs and had shot guns before, no, not inherently. But again, I'm just giving you the courtesy of having a small conversation about this because I made it clear in my video I didn't plan to talk about it again afterwards because he does unhinged things whenever you talk about him. So you also continue to push this doesn't help.
I will give credit to the fact that he does unhinged things. I heard the fucking weird voicemail, okay? I'm not going to defend that.
Then don't continue to enable it either. You're sitting here talking about me being I just told you how.
This is Lio pulling some art community bullshit. Deflecting, changing the narrative. I said I don't want to talk about this, and now you're sitting here talking about this, and it's going to cause problems for me. Not owning up to what happened. He doesn't want to do her because no defense and fly fast enough. Yeah, exactly.
You're sitting here talking about me being gullible, but you're falling into the same exact trap. I've lined out why I didn't plan on talking to him about it or talking about it publicly again, and here you are bringing him up.
I'm bringing him up because I think that the whole situation to begin with is like insane. It's asinine. And, you know, this...
That doesn't change my point.
The two-black call. You said you had taken accountability in the call.
That's the thing now. If he believed it was a real threat, then it wouldn't be a charge. Yeah, because you guys were talking about the whole possibility if he called the police, it could be construed as making a false allegation or a false report, whatever the law is in Jax's state, because that's where he'd be making the call. Where we are, where this clear spiteful move. Well, yep.
Mm-hmm. So like, what does that mean? Because you use that word very frequently.
Sorry, veiled as concern.
Hold on. Taking accountability is owning what you've done and trying not to repeat it in a lot of cases. There are other times it's not. Some of it involves legality. for a lot more serious things, but that is part of taking accountability, is owning what you've done, whether it's right or wrong, and moving on with it, and not repeating that behavior.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of chat that got missed. I think this was more a vent and not really a vent, I guess. This was more of a discussion that needed to be had between Akumo and Lio. So, really minor issue. Need to talk about it. No one would care, but it's an extremely serious matter. And then I don't want to talk about it. Don't hold water. Yep. But yeah, I think that's kind of why they ignored chat until later. Whoa, I just noticed this. Yeah, you guys can see this. Look at this right here. This gets interesting because there's about to be a call for pizzas. Huh. And yeah, they're talking about Jax is in the waiting for the call and trying to get him in. Huh. Sorry about that.
Okay, and in the call, okay, we're talking about the whole intimidation thing. You're saying it didn't register to you. Did you not say that you were going to show up to his house?
I did not say I was going to show up to his house. What I said was, if I did, because he said, show up to my house. I said, if I did, how would you even know it was me? I didn't say I'm going to show up at your house.
Well, hold on. Let me grab the clip.
Okay. Yeah. This is where it gets into heavy deflection. I mean, he really is going to try and push this fucking call or this recording from not happening. I'm probably going to skip forward once we get to the pizza portion, just because there's a lot of waiting.
I think that would be best if we go clip by clip and talk about them.
No, we're not going clip by clip because I made it very clear if we continue to talk about him, he's going to do unhinged things.
I think he's going to do unhinged things regardless, but...
He only pipes up about it when he's brought up publicly. I have been very clear about that. I have given evidence to that. If you want to go about this in privately, that's fine, but I'm not going to continue talking about it publicly. I've addressed this multiple times. And I've told you why.
I'm not letting Jax in. Lyle's not going to be cool with that, and I'd like to keep this going.
Yeah, and the last time Jax wound up on a live stream talking about this, he irritated everybody else there too. So as far as I'm concerned, if you want to talk about this, Akumo, we can do it off your stream.
Well, the reason I'm talking about it with you is because you did say you were going to show up to his house. You said, all right, that's what we're going to do.
I did not say I was going to show up.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about some of it being maybe a bit strategic, like you're alluding to, John, because it was very convenient that it gave him a break at the perfect time to sort his thoughts, so to speak.
To his house. And again, I am not going to further talk about this with you in the public sphere. And I've given you my reasons why. They have been lined out and they have been given evidence. If you care about evidence, then you'll respect that.
Lio,
extreme. Not the call. Jack said, he asked, are you going to show up to my house? I want you to do that. I want you to show up to my house. And you said, all right, that's what we're going to do. Does that not, what is not registering there?
Real quick, Lio, before you reply, remember, blood pressure.
I take lisinopril every day, Jar.
I know, but you're getting kind of heated. Let's calm it down a little bit.
Because I made it clear I wasn't going to talk about
it. Oh, God. Food shops. Oh, God, I could not imagine food shops being in this call. Oh, God, they would do such a good argument against fucking Lio. It'd be true gang up just with two people. You can hear him getting notifications on his phone at those specific times. Yeah, it just... you draw a really, really good point. Just that it was convenient. So, and you know what? If he's on... I think he said he's on mobile, so it's not like you can't have Discord running in the background and be on a call and maybe, messaging someone, hey, give me a call in like 5 minutes.
About this publicly, and I've done the decency of letting Akumu say some things concerning it, and I'm not going to any further past that because I am now breaking my word from that video. So do you want me to keep to my word or not?
Akumu, would you like...
So now he's trying to do a moral implications thing on Akumo here, saying, you're making me break my word. I said I was going to talk about this. And meanwhile, Akumo's trying to hold him accountable here. That's what Akumo's trying to do.
I'd like to continue this conversation as...
I accidentally hit the spacebar. He's trying to make you accountable for the actions that you did. You said that I'm going to show up at your house, and you're saying that never happened, and we're going to see proof from your mouth, and you're going to admit sorry at the end of this. In fact, you're going to apologize to Jax on the phone because of the shit that comes up here. Just felt too strategic. Yeah, I mean, it could go either way. It really could. But it's just one of those, you have a good point, John. Like, it was kind of perfect timing. But then, Moose, you're right. It could be genuine. I mean, who knows? And we have no real way of knowing because we can't see what he's doing at this point in time.
In private.
Well, I think the reason why people find it interesting is because you deny saying I didn't say I was going to show up, but Jax asked and said that he wanted you to show up, and he said, all right, that's what we're going to do.
Leia's going pretty hard at him in chat here too, I've noticed. I don't know if you see the chat right here. But I've been watching for that Cloustat EXE. That person had a serious problem with Lio. And I'm kind of curious that if the pizza situation is real, it's kind of interesting that they said that pizza comment, and about the time that it takes to order a pizza, suddenly things happen here.
Hold on, I got something else coming in a minute here.
Another pizza?
Well, allegedly the possibility of it being somebody else, but I'm waiting for evidence on that.
Oh, we already had one pizza. I skipped it apparently.
Wait, what do you mean somebody else?
Well, this is saying that 2 Black is admitting to being the one sending pizzas to my house.
I have no idea who this person is.
Was this on stream or privately?
I'm waiting to get evidence on it.
Okay.
Leo,
when do you have family over?
Like a blunt at Snoop Dogg concert. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Here,
What?
I'm gonna let this
I'm hearing
go
background
up a little bit. Pay attention to this. When you see this little picture come up in chat, kind of be looking over here and pay attention to this Klaus underscore AXE. This person is pretty suspect, in my opinion. You'd get notifications and say, "Oh, look, more pizza. I gotta go." Shoot them off. Oh man, no, it's definitely convenient timing, but I can absolutely see him actually getting pizzas, ring camera notifications, or if he texts someone to send him messages. I mean, yeah, it could go either way. Yeah, it's who the hell is 2 Black though? Like, I'm just kind of curious. I can imagine his private Discord now pulling a crowd. Oh, Kraut and T. Academics, please respond. In need of an out. Getting absolutely destroyed. Please activate order 69. Message spam. Execute order 64. The fake pizza ploy.
I think that's probably coming from me. I think someone just came in through the door. I'll mute myself on my end.
They've done the whole Kraut and Tea. They've actually got someone in Akumo server posing as being friendly, and that's doxing Lio and ordering the pizzas on their behalf so that they could prove the chain and everything. I could see the whole Kraut and Tea thing playing out here. If you guys don't know about that, go check out my Medicare video. We go over the whole Kraut and Tea in the first one. That is absolutely insane fucking history. Great internet history. Long video. I apologize, but fantastic live stream. Really funny shit.
Let me see here.
I have a list yet. I'm just waiting for Live to finish what he's doing. Okay, I have the clip.
Okay. Finally, no one cares about the pizza. Move on. This chat is not having this fucking pizza.
Oh my goodness, none at the moment.
He's waiting for the full docs of 2 Blacks. Of 2 Black guys. Here we go. Oh my god, this chat is funny. Yep, and here we go.
But I'm asking, good lord, hold on.
Trout and Tea.
While he gets whatever it is, while he get whatever it is, you want to entertain the chat and chat about something?
Never heard by it myself when I was told of it, and I was like, bullshit. Like you're like, I think me. I was like, no way. Allegedly,
Jax was told by 2 Black that that's what 2 Black is doing.
So now there's the allegation coming up that the mystery pizza person is this 2 Black guy, or 2 Mad. Now they're saying 2 Mad in chat. I don't think you guys can see that portion, but whatever. This person supposedly is doing the pizza doxing, and he's getting this information passed to him from Jax, Black's brother.
Okay. Well, you'd have to ask 2 Black. Do you have him on Discord?
No, and I'm not really interested in chatting with him about it. Because the worst case scenario, he is the one doing it. Other scenario, Jax is lying about it and he's doing it. Because Jax has already made it clear that he will do anything he can if he is upset about something. Which, that's fine.
I'm not allowing him on the stream.
Well, that's fine.
I have that clear.
It's whatever.
I'm still waiting for Crystal Flame to join.
I love how there's other people in the chat that are the same way as me. Who the fuck is 2 Black?
Hold on, let me message her.
Who?
Crystal.
But I will allow you on Crystal. I'm not.
Okay. Basically, all Akumo said at this point is that he wants to resolve this before bringing Crystal Flame in.
Okay. So this is the clip again. I think it's still up. So if need be, it's on Queen Seraphina's channel. But this is the clip of what I was referring to, so that anyone that's watching, they'll know that what I'm saying isn't just I'm not blowing it out my ass here. Where is it at? Video file. Here. This is what I'm
you probably should be.
Yet. I should be. Give me a few reasons.
Well, number one, I can figure out very quickly where a kid lives by their photo, and I'm pretty sure you probably got one running around.
Oh yeah, you come to the house. I live in a gang neighborhood and I have guns, so.
No, I'm not.
About to shoot
hey, retard.
Hey, you literally threatened me. Look,
I'm not going because I choose to. You
come to my house. I'll put a bullet in your skull. Just saying.
You're not going to put anything in anywhere. Your airsoft guns.
This is a kid trolling. Tell me how the fuck you misconstrued this, Lio. Please.
Don't scare me, son. Sit down and be quiet.
I actually have guns, fuck.
So he's very clearly in this call clarifying that if you come to his house, all right. So I just want to establish that and then continue this.
I'm not worried about some dumb 15-year-old making threats about firearms. If I want to ruin your life, I'll just call your school and tell them you made the threat. And you won't get anywhere in life.
And now you know why you're being held accountable for your actions right here. You literally, that line fucking killed you, Lio.
You want to play this game? We can play that game.
Oh yeah, say it to my fucking face.
You are. You want me to come to your house?
Okay, he says, say it to my face. You say you want me to come to your house.
Yeah, do you want me to?
Relax.
Okay, cool. Then that's what we're gonna do.
Can you rewind that?
Sure. Yeah.
You listen.
Okay, cool. And that's what we're gonna do. I thought it was in relation to me talking about finding his information. So, man, clearly I was in the wrong on that one. So I apologize for that.
Well, this is the thing that everyone's been curious about, because each time you talk about this since it's happened, you've denied saying, well, I never said I was going to go to his house. This was talked about I mean, you've talked about this before.
Why do you think I kept directing Two Black? Why do you think I kept directing Two Black back to that call? If that's what I thought I actually said, why would I reinforce that by telling him to go back and re-listen to the call?
And the dozens of people that have made videos talking about this, you haven't watched any of those videos?
No, I actually haven't, because I've been a little busy, Akumo.
This is such an excuse, is the fact that you're being accused of this shit, but he never had the time to watch any of these videos. I mean, he had the time to sit there and get somebody to record them, or a recording of somebody reading the Peaches document, at least a good majority of it. And he had time for that. He ends up stuffing in the whole long ass call that I believe Kumo had with Jordan in there. I mean, like, a lot of his video, I'm not gonna lie, sorry Lio, is fucking fluff. It didn't need to be there. There's almost too much context to what you're saying, and it dilutes your point, because then we're like trying to struggle to remember why you're even playing this clip, because now you've played 45 minutes of a clip and we're like, the fuck is going on? What was your point? And then you bring up something and we can't mentally link whether you're actually answering what you initially started this clip for, or if you moved on to a totally different point. You don't understand, Akumo. I was busy making my models. I didn't say that. Oh, I did? Oh, everyone told me? No, I don't have time. You're the problem. Captain Accountability is BS videos have been made about the Jax call long before Peaches. Yep, exactly. Wouldn't allow Jackson, so Jax called him to sell. Yeah. And that was good on Akumo. I mean, being respectful to his guest. He's like, the guest doesn't want him in here. The guest, I'm going to honor that respect. You don't understand, Akumo. I'm busy making my models. Not think pedophiles. I've literally played this call to normies who know nothing about Lio and stuff, and they all agree Jax was chest bumping. Lio was threatening him. Yeah. And they'd tell Lio, come the fuck over. Thunder scats. Oh fuck, that would be. Oh, now we know what the new server is going to be named, the Thunder Scat server. Okay, I think I'm caught up with chat.
What about Gilded when he talked about it?
Didn't watch his video either.
And my last.
So he's not watched Gilded's video. He's not watched like any fucking videos on this. He has no context, but he knows damn well what he said until he's proven it. It's shoved in his fucking face, and he can't deny it anymore. Then he has the fucking then he has the response. This is TMNT action figures. Oh man. Stuffing Taco Bell. My wife is sleep. Oh my god. That was mean but funny. Oh man. Imagine being a man getting blown the fuck out so hard by a 15-year-old. As a 30-something-year-old man, you're basically school SWAT the kid. Yes. Like, I don't know how you can sit in that call and be like, this is a serious threat.
LARPer Lio, you haven't seen that one?
No, I haven't watched any of your content concerning that.
Like I know the Fox Mafia has talked about this a lot.
And I know you talked about Fox Mafia.
They actually didn't talk about this a lot. This is something that primarily Gilded Pooh apparently talked about.
Yeah, but wasn't he a part of that group?
Not at the time he talked about it, no.
Okay, that was a mistake on my end then.
Also, speaking of the Fox Mafia.
Oh, this is funny right here in chat. I had to pause for that one.
You said that there was Fox Mafia. I think it was you. Take this with a grain of salt. If I'm wrong on this, I'll admit to that. Did you say that there were Fox Mafia people in my Discord?
I can't remember if it was your Discord or Kumo's, but I know there's at least some in Kumo's. This is part of the problem.
What was that? Go back. Not exactly any better than Lio. What is this? You know, you guys aren't exactly any better than Lio with all the name calling stuff. Okay, so what does name calling have to do with fucking doxing someone? I don't understand that. All on that, he has people sending him info.
Fox Mafia people in my Discord.
I can't remember if it was your Discord or Kumo's, but I know there's at least some in Kumo's. This is part of the problem of you two having similar names.
Well, this was allegedly the reason I've heard through word of mouth on this, so I can't again quote it right. But when I was trying to figure out why I was banned, which you've told me now today, why I was banned is because Peach was crying about it. One of the reasons I was informed of through word of mouth was that I apparently had Fox Mafia people in.
That's a good point right here. Your local crypt did. I called yes, otherwise Lio wouldn't have any idea on what to make a video on. And he's referenced a lot of stuff people were pissed about.
My Discord server.
I think you may have, but that wasn't the reason why you were banned, I don't think. I'd have to look at the logs in terms of what was said.
I don't recall Grimskull ever being in my Discord server. I could check, but I don't think Grimskull...
This is just
He was. It was a mutual server.
Accusations of, like, he's trying to deflect. This is a full fucking deflector.
Of ours that we had for...
Did he leave it?
Probably. I think he left all of his connections once he got a pizza sent to his house. That for some reason he still thinks it's me.
Yeah,
that would be...
Let's see what we got. Okay, they're talking about pizza the person, which is ironic because they're also talking about pizza at the same time. Need to have a... if you upload... Oh, yes. Yes. I need to get a thumbnail made for that. I'll try and see what I can come up with. The chat had a few Lio defenders in it. His video or slapped full of poultice. Yeah. Kissing his ass so hard they smell like him. Trying to see where we're at here.
I can't even find any mention of him in my
all the time.
Yeah, but you said Grimskull was,
and it said that we shared a server with you. It has been for a while now.
Yeah, okay. It's time to let Crystal on. I have a couple of things on afterwards task, but it is time to let Crystal on. All right, let me close this out here. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So, oh boy, I've been spoken about a lot in the context of actions, and I would love to clear a lot of stuff up, especially the FCK stuff, because Akumu, we never talked, which makes me very sad. So,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we've never talked. It's sad. Anyways, so in relation to the FCK stuff, oh my god. So I'm releasing that call. That call was out today actually, and I messed up the audio. Which is kind of funny. Me when. Anyway, so I'm all for making that call.
I don't think I've ever heard Lio laugh.
Fully transparent. I was brought into the FCK situation and self-inserted myself way too quickly. Basically, I'm gonna be completely honest. I was completely poisoned the well about you. Like, I thought you were a really bad person, Akumu. That was the whole premise of the Senate. Don't talk to Akumu. Don't talk to Kumo. And
see, and Crystal gives a lot of good context right here about how infectious the Senate chat was, and actually skewing her vision of Akumo.
These people, I wasn't allowed to. I felt the pressure, so. Anything again, this isn't going to be pro Lio, sorry Lio, but
that's fine.
It was a mixture between Peaches and Lio, and the whole Senate mentality being like, don't talk to these people. These people don't care about any of the victims in the FCK and or anything like that. So yeah, that was the premise of that.
There's a very interesting chat that I'm going to point out once it gets up in the view.
It comes to the call, because this was also confusing. The idea of it was just before Peach's threads came out, so I was the one, same with Lio, who advised Peaches to make that thread, because again, that needed to be addressed. I was the one in the call. Again, I don't stand by anything I say in that call because I was very misinformed. I actually
all right, right here, you guys can finally see it. I just had to gauge where you guys can see it over my little video feed. See this account right here, Tommy's house? Lio's actually laughing to cope. This is another interesting account that I pointed out. Okay, so if you go to, I don't know if I can click and go to their channel. No, I don't want to report any. You know, it would be helpful, YouTube, if you could do that. It'd be great if I could click on somebody and go to their channel. I want to bring this up really quick. This is a little tangent. So this guy's got quite a few videos that you're going to see here, where he's interviewed a lot of people, and in kind of a anti Lio Convoy arc, right? So he's made quite a few videos. He's getting pretty decent views on them, interviewing all these people, right? Now he's gone back to doing some normal stuff after this video, it looks like. Or no, right here. Oh no, here's a message from Nil, so there's more. Yeah, so I think this might be the actual one. Okay, so it looks like a pretty convincing anti-Lio account, right? Well, if you go back and you watch my coverage on the actual the Rosa Ray Ramsey call, this account is in the chat making fun of Rosa Ray. So it's kind of hard to believe people that were sitting there in the Discord, sitting there saying nasty stuff. Because I'm sorry, Tommy's house, I don't really know you, but you were saying some cruel shit that I remember seeing, and I even paused on and focused on because I saw your channel beforehand. And you were saying some pretty nasty shit in that Rosa Ray Ramsey call. So it's a little suspect, and I call a little bit of bullshit when I see people like yourself now suddenly sitting there morally grandstanding, so to speak, against Lio.
watch your videos, Akumu. I was like, hold on, you're kind of cooking with this. So I take back a lot of the shit I said, but again, transparency, we love to see it. Trying to think what else was said, or just any questions you have for me, Akumu, because again.
And Peaches says, that they knew Slimmers was a minor. That was held on February 25th. Consistently made that claim.
Because this was made, again, 1 second. Fef, you're correct with that date. Set up a premiere, I will screenshot. Again,
trying to get to
was
so
okay.
That, but there's a clip.
I was under honest again.
So, this other
because he is now
CC for all
to rip me in half the second he gets. So
I did.
No.
I'm trying to think what else there was to say. Oh, another side point is that I have corrected the information about Peaches. It was originally everything was private, and I was given an eye on it with the document with everything along those lines. But then, as of recent, within the last week or two, I'm 80% sure that Peaches has completely nuked their live channel as well. At the same time.
Peaches, so
this is the key that stress him.
About
Theo, but it was
no. I'm telling you that's incorrect. I was thinking of a separate incident. The ripping and happening.
I got banned from the server because
for the harassment. Yes, and then Peaches told me that we were still harassing them. So that's why I said yes. Well, not.
This guy's probably just sheeple. I make fun of brain damaged girl because everyone else loud man bad must insult you. Oh man. Okay, here we go. We're back on topic. Yeah, I'm gonna go back a little bit before.
Good Swedish to me.
Akumu, and then Peaches told me that we were still harassing them. So that's why I said yes. Well, not in February, but that was the idea that they kept putting in my brain about you.
Yeah. Bubba, if you want to go back and look at my video, so it was kind of coincidental that I noticed this stuff. I actually had come across, in doing my research, I had come across Tommy's channel and was like, oh, this is useful. So that's why I noticed his name even and everything else. And was like, oh, well, this guy looks like he's kind of, fighting a good fight against Lio. We'll put it that way, right? So I kind of kept a mental record, kind of like I do with a lot of this stuff. Well, then when we were watching the Rosa Ray Ramsey call, at one point I start seeing him pop up in chat, and you can probably see it on my face. I'm like, wait a minute, I recognize that. And I actually pause and I do point it out where he's saying shit in chat, like really fucking harsh shit against Rosa. And now he's one of the anti-Lio campaigners. So it's just this is the shit that makes it really hard.
So that's where that comment came from.
But I think we got the.
I have to look at all this, take a step back and look at all of it. Why, what made Peaches have, out of all people, have like a Phil, like a piano master in that shit? Okay.
This is why you don't talk about him publicly.
Here we go. Jack's calling.
Oh, you're starting to Jack's. Is it the same number?
Hello.
Hey, this is Dre. I did not order pizzas yet. Just gonna give you a little heads up. I know who did. I didn't. All right. I know you keep me on. They're not letting me in, so I can't have a voice. But I did not order pizzas to your house.
If you have evidence, give it to somebody. You can hand it to me, Jax.
Tell him to tweet it to me.
Akumu.
I'll have to dip and check back later. Now, to be fair, maybe he got caught up in the mob mentality, and that's true. He could have seen the error of his ways, or he's two-faced. Honestly, don't know. Yeah, it just was. It took me by surprise because it was someone that I thought was kind of unbiasedly trying to do honest to goodness, interviews and get a good thorough understanding and a record out there of people's thoughts and stuff. But then to also see retrospectively him in the chat saying things, it kind of, that's why I didn't end up using his content.
Akumu, well, hold on. So you're not snitching, but you're telling me that 2 Black did it?
Oh my god.
Then who did it?
I'm not gonna say who. I ain't snitch. Ain't no rat. I'm not 6'9".
Well, you just did, and you did it in front of an entire audience.
When did I say 2 Black did, dumbass?
No, I'm saying you said you're not snitching that somebody did it, but you just did. You may not give me a name, but that's still snitching, my dude.
It's still snitching.
Well,
Did I say it was 2 Black?
If you're saying no, I have people telling me that you said it was 2 Black.
Who? Wait. So people are saying it's 2 Black.
People are telling me that you said it was 2 Black.
I never told anyone that 2 Black ordered. No.
Okay. Anything else for me?
No, I just want to tell you I'm not ordering pizzas because kind of bullshit you accuse me on the stream.
He's being told that. That's why, and he said it was alleged. To give him credit, he did say it was alleged.
I did say allegedly you, according to Akumu. But while you're here, I will again apologize for the grief I gave you in that call and for calling people on you.
You guys probably, man. I'm completely honest with you. It seems like you're losing it.
What am I losing?
I'm completely honest with you. That only seems like
he gets owned by this kid again. This kid owns his ass again right here. Just listen really close. I'll maybe boost the audio a little bit so that way you guys can hear it pretty good. Go here. We'll see how it goes.
You guys probably, man. I'm completely honest with you. That seems like you're losing it.
What am I losing?
I'm completely honest with you. That only seems like you're clout.
I don't care about clout. If I cared about clout, I wouldn't be talking about this at all in a video or anything.
Wait, how old are you?
It doesn't really matter, Jax. If you don't want the apology, then you don't accept it. But considering the fact that you decided to also harass me and send me voicemails is a problem too.
Yeah, those voicemails were weird as fuck.
Jax, you have actively tried harassing me for the better part of a month now. I don't think you really have a place to talk about other people having a life, my dude.
Instead of just fucking paying attention on clout on YouTube, it's very generic, to be honest with you.
Jax, do you still plan on joining the army?
Again, deflect, pivot, change, whatever you want to call it. He's only apologizing because he's getting called out. Yeah, exactly. And Jax is a little bit of a legend for this. I mean, he's basically sits there and he says the only reason that you're doing this apology right now is because you're losing. And he's kind of viewing this as a debate, whatever, young kid. It's a conversation more to me. But he's right. He's spot on.
Then you need to knock this nonsense off. Like, just being 100% with the chief, because this is not going to be good for a recruiter.
Jax.
You've done a lot worse than me. I mean, I'm not the one threatening kids,
This is stupid.
doxing people, trying to scare people.
I never doxed you, Joe.
He owns them a little bit right here. That might be, but I'm not the one doxing people. I'm trying to own people.
I never doxed you, Jax. You know that, and I've told you that.
Well, no, okay. It wasn't that you doxed him, but you did acquire his personal information.
Well, that's what he's claiming, which, again, doxing is finding private information and finding
Do
things
you not
private.
think it's a little weird to ask for 15 years?
This is a point that I'm sorry, Lio, I'm gonna own you on. He's a minor. You have this same weird, the whole fucking thing that you dealt with had this whole moral, like, based perspective on kids. But then you totally diverted from that moral-based perspective on kids and how they're valued and how innocent they are and how all this other stuff. When it came to Jax and you were okay with not only finding his public information, which, again, for a minor, it's kind of fucking weird. I am totally on board with Akumo right here. In the live chat, is he threatening this kid again? That's funny. I think I saw that. I actually think I did see that. A recruiter ain't gonna give a shit about Jax trolling online. The recruiter will just laugh at it. They're gonna be more worried about his ASVAB and his body index and all that stuff. Make sure that he meets all the minimum qualifications. Are you alive? Can you walk? How are your knees? Are you thin enough? Are you fat enough? I mean, they got a whole fat camp now in the military, so it's. And then can you score intelligent enough to at least be in infantry? Like, are you gonna be cannon fodder, or are you gonna be like something better? That's all they're gonna care about. Like, unless you're talking about like Air Force and where they're gonna be a little more technically like wanting to know your better qualifications and all that stuff. Hey, Teddy, and it was my idea. Oh man. How you doing, Teddy? It's been a long time. I feel like I've missed you around here.
Hold on.
I want you to know, I don't promise to publicly or my name. So, you know, that's kind of, you guys just disproving on point.
I'm not really proving any other point other than the fact that I think if you want to be in the army, Jax, you've got to change how you operate.
Again, deflecting.
Great, son.
Just hang up on him.
Yeah, and join the Marines instead.
And Jar says to join the Marines instead.
This is stupid.
And that's why we don't talk about it publicly.
That has nothing to do with it. And you never even really gave the kid answers here. You're deflecting just because he's holding you accountable on live stream. Can you duck walk? Do you like energy drinks? Do you like Skittles? I don't know if Skittles is still a thing. Can you be a functioning alcoholic? Oh, there's too many guys that hung out with. I did not qualify because of medical history, but yeah, I've got way too many buddies that would love to have you get blown up by goat herders. But we have one last question. Have you ever blown the fuck out by losers who play with toys at 40? Oh fuck. Join the Marines instead. Are the Marines more difficult to get into? Oh man. For physical fitness, yes. What's your favorite crayon flavor? Oh, that gets them every time. The purple ones, the blue ones are too tart. In Navy, you have to be better. You have a better chance of being in an air wing if you race go-karts as a kid. Huh? That's crazy. I just know where the heck I was in when I got out of high school and everything else. I was in one of the very rare locations that I actually saw the very elusive Coast Guard recruiting office. I think there's like 5 of them. I actually saw one. Have you ever caught an STD? Oh, good. You're already prepared. Sign here. What are your thoughts on gonorrhea?
I think that it was needed to point out that you did say that you were going to go over to his house, which is something you have been denying for a while.
Okay. Anything else?
I have a couple questions.
Go on our merry way.
you said that you treated all your kids the same, but Peaches very obviously again was playing you like Stevie Wonder on it. Like,
okay. I gave every single one of them the same amount of.
That's really interesting. I had no idea. I never really thought about that, Gigi. That's kind of a cool fact. I'll bury it away for no one ever that's going to be ever interested in that, but I now have the fact. Just like I know okay, weird fact time. Weird fact. Did you know the number of dimples on a golf ball changes the trajectory and the speed and the air velocity when it's struck off a tee? And most golf balls have at least 110 dimples, which is the same as the number of ridges on a dime. That's some useless bullshit that's in this fucking head.
Affection and attention and time. Peaches wanted to hang out more, so Peaches had more access to me. The others didn't want to. It's not the exact same as you showed them more attention when they didn't want it or whatever, or saying, well, they played you like Stevie Wonder. Akumu, I'm just going to be blunt with you. This is one reason why people think that you're a victim blamer, because your entire point is, well, you should have known better, you should have done this. Manipulation happens to anybody, and so can abuse at any age.
This is a big deflection by Lio here, and he kind of commits to this going forward a bit.
I don't think asking fair questions about the fact that Peaches manipulated you into doing. Yeah, I don't think that's.
No, but making comments about
Convoy, let Akumu finish, please.
I don't think that's victim blaming, because I'm asking you because you.
I brought that up when I tried joining in high school, and the recruiter said I would have a better chance of being in the seat. That's actually cool. Huh. There's a time I wanted to join the army, then I realized I wouldn't be able to push my brothers. Take him instead. I'm too young. Oh shit. The sad thing about the Coast Guard is actually extremely cool and badass. Yeah, I've actually seen the what is it, USS Eagle. But it has a reputation of being just people that play on a tiny boat. Yeah. Okay. Again, weird facts that I know. The USS Eagle. We have as a mandatory thing, if you get into the Coast Guard, you actually have to serve on this this ship at some point to learn basic rope skills, sailing skills, and all that. So yes, the U.S. military, specifically the Coast Guard, has a legit sailing vessel that you have to train on. And I've actually been on board it and everything, and it was really fucking cool. It's a very modernized version of an old ship. It's pretty interesting. There's a lot of bunks and everything like you would find on a regular ship, whatever. Tangents. Apologies. Same thing happened to me. You bet. Medical. Yep. Yeah. They found out my medical history, and I have one of the few, there's 5 disqualifying medical conditions, and I have one of the 5. See, police, they really are.
You yourself said that you were easily manipulated multiple times throughout a year into doing shit you didn't want to with suicide threats, and then on top of this, you state that you blocked me because Peaches cried. Then you said you were in the DMs with Jar, talking about you're gonna rip me in half because Peaches was still complaining about me.
I shopped around. I was going for I was not mentally stable when I'm trying to join the military. I was gonna go for, what is it, 88 Mike, I think it is. It's truck driver. They had a huge sign-on bonus. It was just a matter of if you lived long enough to actually get the full sign-on bonus. Kind of tragic, but the money was incredible. I scored what was it, an 84 or an 86 on the ASVAB. My freaking buddy scored he scored a 96 or a 98. He qualified for fucking intelligence. And then I'm over here okay, which one pays the best though? Had the worst eyesight. Yeah.
Was any evidence at any point ever provided to you for any of this?
I asked for it, and they told me that it happened on Twitter. I asked for screen caps. They said no, and I asked, well, what am I supposed to do with this? And it would always be, well, you think I'm crazy. You think I'm lying to you. You don't believe me. I should kill myself.
It's one thing surprising I couldn't tell with.
And Lyle's not talking about himself being himself. He's talking about Peach's suicide baiting.
Of the idea that it is interesting.
No caller ID. I can't block it.
It's an interesting aspect of it because again, it is.
Yeah, I had all my MEPs and everything set up, and they pulled my medical records because I was going to go through and do MEPs and all that. I was just going to join regular army, and that's when they found out I've got an endocrine condition, and an endocrine condition is one of those automatic And basically the recruiter pulled me in, did a closed door thing. It was the head recruiter. He closed door. He's like, look, he's like, honestly, you can go about this 2 ways. He's like, we can say we didn't get access to your medical records. You go in, you do all the basic testing, you're going to do everything. And then if you have issues, they're going to have to re-diagnose you through the military. But with my medical condition, there's a threat that I could have died from like dehydration and stuff going through all of that. And he's like, the other thing is, he's like, we just stop it here. And I probably took about a good 15-20 minutes sitting in the recruiter's office, really thinking about it, going through my head and asking him questions like, okay, like what happens like if I'm having trouble on runs and stuff and I dehydrate quickly, like am I gonna get in trouble? Am I gonna get booted and whatever? Because I didn't want to get like a medical disqualification and all that. And he's like, honestly, he's like, that's a strong possibility. I was on track to join the Navy, broke my leg. They were all good with waiting until after surgery. When they decided metal pins would have stayed in my leg and ankle. Oof. That electrician is great. Time you call Marines if you want something broke, dead, or pregnant. Oh, shit. What do Marines and Air Force do when there is no conflict or war? Coast Guard, I see, but like those guys particularly, they reduce forces a lot. And then there's a lot of bases all around the world. I mean, like I've got a buddy that's a PJ. He's a flight engineer for a PJ unit out of Alaska, and he's been to Somalia and a couple other different places. He scored a 99 on the ASVAB. Damn. I had the Marines even call me in and asked me if I wanted to join. I said I wanted to deliver rushing freedom and justice to the Middle East. Oh, they never called me back. Lyle had Sentinels do a 24-hour watch on Peaches, yet I recall mods making a rule: if you threaten self-deletion in the server, you must live chat it to us. Wow, I didn't know that. I don't know, I never went through I want to join the military phase. You basically kind of, look, I was at a point that, and I've been at that point in my life where like, I'm not committed enough to self-delete. And if I'm going to self-delete, I might as well do it earning some decent money. That was my position. It was not a good mental state. I was a rowdy kid at that time too. So I can relate a lot to Jax.
A point where I'm not going to dig into it, but again,
a buddy of mine came back and he actually served in Fallujah in the prison over there. And he was talking about getting piss bombs and shit bombs thrown at him and everything else and all this other stuff. And that poor guy, he had a lot of scarred issues when he came back. But it was pretty cool. He let me borrow his Mustang one night, and I went out and blew donuts on a helipad for a hospital. Live chat, live stream, whatever it was. Wow. That's interesting. I didn't know that about him. Senate.
The control that Peaches did over Lio is concerning. It's something I voiced to him privately and I voiced to him here. Because as you can see, like you were banned from the Senate, you were made out to be this horrible person. Where I believe that that's on me. I should have talked and explained stuff. So I put my hands up to that. But literally, that one thread I put on Peaches was more than able to completely control Lio on making a video on me. That video was because apparently I called Peaches a predator or a groomer, which I never did. And Peaches would completely berate Lio.
This is a pretty good example that Crystal puts forth in Bagram. Oh, that's one of like 2,000 fans. Huh. Jesus Christ.
About
forgot what I got to do. Fast tracked into the FBI. Wow. See, that's like what my buddy scored. So he had to score above, I think it was like above a 92 or 93, and you got a lot of fast track opportunities. He used to perform as the Blues Brothers together. That's funny. Oh man, Bagram is heavy. Bubba's correct on that. That had to be a freaking rough patrol.
You need to do this, you need to get this video done before everyone else, because Crystal did this, Crystal made me out to be a terrible person and everything along those lines. So it's a scary level of control that Peaches has had over Lio, but I do get why people are curious about why Peaches.
I want to especially reverse the whole his suggestion, his implication that my videos are possibly like worse because of some details that I got wrong. Like with the Rosa thing where he said, that wasn't, referring to Rosa, although there's a plethora of like other clips that I could have used. You were right there, but I don't think it ultimately changes my point in that clip. But you implied that, my other videos must be some like form of massive misinformation. And yet what we're finding out is that you're seemingly easily manipulated.
I just wanted to let him finish that point. You find out a lot through a lot of this stuff that like, there's a lot of like they watch like maybe one video or part of a video, and then they apply this logic to the entire person, and it's I don't get it.
Come on.
And also that you made claims, you took claims yourself. You got onto me for putting out claims and not like 100% fact checking them in your most recent video.
Do you not think that there's a difference in terms of severity of what I've said versus what you said? You literally called me a degenerate and pointed to Shota Zoofile accounts as though they were mine without fact checking it yourself.
I made sure to state alleged and that there wasn't evidence to prove it quite.
Okay, and this is where I'm going to hold Akumo accountable. He probably should have apologized a little thoroughly here, or a little more thoroughly. So basically, in the video, there's a video that Akumo did where he kind of goes through and he shows like some Furfinity accounts and a couple other things that were supposedly, allegedly Lio's, but Lio goes through and disproves that they were his. Why do I want to do this? This seems uncomfortable. Yeah, I really wasn't thinking about that.
Yet. And I went to Hidden. You know this. I know that Hidden informed you of this immediately. I asked for screenshots to ensure that I went to you immediately and said, look, if I can get any sort of information, explanation, I'll gladly retract the claim. That's exactly what I did.
But why didn't you look into it yourself? Was my question.
Because I didn't know how Fur Affinity works.
You couldn't have asked somebody else.
I don't know anyone that uses the website.
So
oh man, I've had a couple buddies that were COs, and you guys go through, men, women, whatever. Y'all go through a lot of shit. People are fucking terrible, all the way around. See, I like Band of Brothers over the Pacific just for the sheer fact that you had a lot of actual storytelling that was involved with like every individual episode to give you like a historical background going into, give you some more historical context going into the episode. But I don't know. As a war drama, the Pacific, it was pretty fucking real. And what is it? John Bastion. That dude, the shit that he went through, that it shows a lot. Yeah, the Pacific definitely was a lot darker of the story.
Kumo does?
I didn't get it from Kumo. Someone else gave it to me. That's another thing that you state in your video, that I got it from Kumo when I didn't. Or you mentioned the Ink Bunny shit, which I didn't even talk about.
I see.
Or you state that I was going to try and use it to call you a child predator, but...
Give him a taste of his own medicine, Jim?
Like, no, that wasn't you. That wasn't you that I said that. That was Kumo, because Kumo made it clear.
Kumo, what about the Fur Affinity would be used to call you a child predator?
One at a time, you guys.
That would be the, from what I understand, the amount. Hold on. What's wrong with this thing? Huh.
Again, like I don't know. Maybe he has like adult ADHD. I don't know. Lio is interesting to me.
The Shotokan detailed in the Fur Affinity points to pedophilia.
Okay, well, I didn't see the Shotokan. I saw purely just furry porn.
Which is gross.
Yeah, it is pretty gross.
Oh, another thing that I'd like to point out is that in your video, the most recent one,
I love how he says that shit's gross, yet he's sitting there and aligning himself with somebody who's got a diaper scat fetish.
You play a clip of me pointing out, what was it specifically? Hold on.
Dude, watch a documentary called The Farm. That was my own prison stomping grounds. I'll have to watch that. I got in the Air Force and was a plane mechanic. Worst thing that happened was there being Adams on 9/11. Jeez. My one cousin, she flies and she does like the super carrier planes. I don't know planes that well. It was like a C-30 or something like that, the real big heavy moving stuff. And she was actually trying to train up to be on the pilot rotation for like Air Force One and everything back when Obama was president. Yeah, true, Teddy, true. That was a good storyline of it. I mean, Winters in that whole thing was a hell of a story. And then you had the darker side of his buddy. C-130, yes. It was cargo, not tanker. She flew.
It's on the tip of my tongue here. The fact that I stated that you had the logs for months, and that I was grandstanding you for it and making excuses for myself. That's not what I was doing, and I think you know that because you didn't actually play the clip I was responding to.
I wasn't saying you were grandstanding. I said I found it. Let me find the script itself.
Because you don't show the clip of what I was responding to. You just play the part of me taking issue.
This gets into a whole nother sidetrack.
For the most recent form of the name, so I didn't even recognize them and assumed that no one else did either. I was clearly in the wrong for that, so I'll apologize for it. How is that grandstanding?
So you play a clip of me, and you don't play the clip of what I'm responding to. You just play what I state, and then you say, "Oh well, I'm getting on to you for this," which wasn't what I was doing. I wasn't judging you for not talking about it. And I think you know that because in the DMs with Laka Moka Laka, you say that I was withholding it from everybody or everyone else.
I said everyone else. Yes.
Okay, we can be pedantic about it. Short. Everyone else. Then you state in the February 28th Senate call that I had these logs and did nothing with them.
Yep, for that time period.
Okay. So my issue, and what I was responding to in that, is that argument of, oh, well, Akumu's had these logs for months and did nothing with them. This is coming from someone else who had these logs and did nothing with them.
Yeah, Nixon. Yeah, that whole story was really dark and upsetting when you get to the end of it.
And also, I wasn't doing nothing with them. You were well aware of my series. We talked about it in calls. I detailed it in the call on April 21st. There's several DMs between the two accounts that you and I have where I'm getting into what I'm going to be talking about.
This
in my
alludes
series,
to a
and
big
the fact
thing that, like I was saying, with the HCC stuff, that they take a narrative, or they'll take a clip, or they'll take like a portion of something without watching the full context of a video and misconstrue a point, especially when they dislike the person. In this case, it was Akumo. They've also done the same with Kumo. And I can't really say that they're any better on the other side, but I feel like Akumo tries to get things right. Sometimes he's just getting bad information, I think. And I could give the same claim towards Lio and their side, but yeah, I notice a lot from the art commentary community side where they will take a point and deliberately misconstrue it just to kind of, I don't want to say, they'll misconstrue it to their benefit. Let's put it that way.
Just working on all of them. Back then, I had less free time than I have now.
I'd have to go back and re-listen to that Senate call because I don't remember everything that was said in there. So I'll be happy to do that if you can pass me a link.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now it's almost 9 o'clock.
Right.
So do you have anything else?
Here we go.
Hold on.
This point's going to come up a lot. Now old man's ready for bed, and he's going to try and use this excuse a lot.
Well, let me get you this, and then I got a couple.
Well, did we get to why Akumu was banned?
Yeah, no,
it was a while ago. To you, and if you got anything else, feel free to pass it my way. We'll have open communication going forward.
Which that's good. I'm glad they have open communication going forward. Talking more about Peaches. Speaking of the Pacific, talking about Peaches. That episode was fucking funny.
And then I was like, oh well, why does Lumi have a date that keeps changing in the bio? So I put two.
This was something I had no idea about. I'm going to rewind it a bit here. For context, there's something with Lumi, and Lumi gets brought up in the video, Lio's initial video. But apparently Lumi had a big countdown in the server, alluding to like a bunch of stuff that happened. Basically, they demodded everyone and then dropped a whole ton of information from Peaches, and it basically was a big like fuck you to Lio.
Was going to happen before it happened.
Yeah, someone mentioned to me that there was going to be some kind of thing coming out, accusing Lio of being an abuser, and then I was like, oh well, why does Lumi have a date that keeps changing in the bio? So I put two and two together there.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah.
No, but that narrows down to who it could be, so it doesn't surprise me.
Transformers.
Another question though. So in the February 29th call where you discuss Jesp, 35 seconds in, I'm going to link this to you. If necessary, I'll play it on stream. Okay, thank you. You make the claim that there's a predator in Endless Server, but you refuse to tell who it was.
Did I say predator, or did I say like a weirdo or a sexual harasser?
Hold on, I'll get yours. I'll quote you word for word right now. Hold on.
Please do.
Andrews. Okay. You're fine. Oh, so she was out of Andrews. No wonder. That would have been fucking stressful. Holy shit. Wasn't a standalone. No, I've not seen that one, Teddy. DM me that. I'll look into it. Yeah, I'll still look into it though. I still love Generation Kill. That's still my favorite docuseries on that type of stuff.
Hold on. Maybe I need to...
Maybe it's just from being from that age, that era, knowing a lot of guys that went through all that. There's a lot of just chair squeaking in silence in this fucking thing.
I suppose this, and again, it's a question I asked even when I was first informed about this. Why wasn't it talked about? Like, why again? I think I know why it wasn't. Are you talking about the FCK? What the FCK? Yeah.
I think it's beyond. But yeah, you said that you found private information, haven't you?
No.
Oh, okay. Here we get to the doxing one more time. I'm almost done with this video. I don't want to go through the whole thing. I've tried to
commend them for that. As much as I hate it, as much as I dislike it, you have to say that they do put in the effort. You can't say that they don't.
They're talking about the HCC right
now. Yeah, you can find them with a dead body, and they're like, "No, I was groomed into murdering them. It's fine, guys."
Yeah, guys, I know.
I was groomed, guys. I wish we had a freaking murder to cover. It'd be kind of nice for once.
Well,
hey,
I was falsely accused of that twice, Lio Convoy.
You weren't accused of murder. You were accused of people of leading to somebody's suicide. I want like somebody to actually be accused of like killing someone in cold blood. Can we have a change of space? I'm kind of tired of it always being about predators. Can we please have a murder or an arson or Grand Theft Auto once? That'd be nice.
I think it requires people to have some form of spine though to make that kind of conviction.
These people can't even own up to their own inactions to try and commit murder. Yeah, no.
Listen. I was made to do it.
Guys, I was groomed into killing this person. You need to understand. Like, no, shut up.
This is just satire, but it's still funny to hear people from the community talk this much shit about other people in the community. Furries.
And they always do it with things that
yes, it is my true passion.
just don't have a connection to. And I get it. Like if you want to talk about it and sort of provide
that and stuff from Kino Casino, just because it's good filler.
Something, sure, but it's like what would be an example here? I talked about this in one of the TISM reports, but it's like when I addressed the doxing accusation, right? Like a lot of these people, and I think the FCK does this predominantly. They talk about the reactions to shit, but not once when I've talked about like me being accused of doxing have I said and looked to all the hundreds of comments I've received accusing me of that. I just addressed it and went about it.
Yeah, that seems something you and Mr. Convoy have in common. You've both been accused of doxing.
Well, I mean, he did admit to doxing though. So
again, it depends on what you mean by doxing. It's just finding public information is not doxing by definition.
Well, yeah, no, finding public information is not doxing. But
yeah,
you said that you found private information, haven't you?
No.
Well, I don't know you've doxed predators, haven't you?
Well, again, that's private information. Doxing is private. I've never found private information. I use the white pages.
So that's all you've ever used?
Well, that and Telly, both of which are public things.
Okay, all right.
So that's all the doxing that Lio does. All the stuff that he alluded to before, where he's got his moral flags of like good or bad, whether I'm going to do this or not. That all applies to it. Or it all comes down to his source of information is the white pages.
This is why when you talked about me messing with your email, I'm like, I'm not smart enough to do that.
I didn't 100% think it was you. I did suggest it because it was really weird that someone, like, conveniently as I'm working on all this and like videos about to come out, I get some account at like.
That's a Decepticon, but the plot twist, he's running on Windows Vista. Oh no, I think he's running on like Millennium Edition. Oh god, no, Teddy, you can talk to me about that kind of stuff anytime. I'm into that whole era. History in general. I was going to be a history teacher at one point, but then I found out about the horrors of being a teacher. I got talked out of it.
I think 4 or 5 in the morning, signing my shit up on a bunch of different websites, and it was obviously like someone pissed off about all of this because of the names that they were doing. So,
but no, one thing I'm surprised, and again, Akumu, you've been your full right to say this, is like the amount of unending hate you got. Because again, when I was going back for your videos, like your Butters video, just seeing the amount of dislikes, it's like you have been made as a punching bag, and I'm glad that you've been.
And you know what, Crystal brings up a good point here, because it's not just a matter of them trying to adjust narratives. It's not a matter of them trying to spin and deflect and all that. On top of it, they do the I hate the word brigading, but they do the brigading kind of shit where everybody goes in and, oh, Kumo just dropped a new video, we must all go dislike and leave hate comment, like caveman mentality. I hated Vista. I just never had any luck with Millennium. I had better luck with 98. Vista was meh. 7 was probably the best. Yeah, I love everything, especially when you get back into honestly, I love looking into theology stuff, even though I am agnostic, but just the whole like the similarities and things, it interests the hell out of me how theology and different beliefs developed.
Being able to get your voice out there and actually talk about this shit because this needs to be known. I'm glad that people are taking you.
It always resorts back to one crazy guy.
Seriously now, because you've had many valid points to make.
I see the chat talking about the fact that when doxing is the act of releasing private information publicly. So because Lio is right, the white pages is public, it's not doxing. You can still criticize Lio for that, but you can't say it's doxing.
I mean, would people criticize me for putting out information about predators?
Well, I think a lot of people,
but then it's your moral gauging of what you're saying is a predator. Oh, 8 was awful. Yeah, that I loved how they had to release that whole layout, changing all of that. It stuck on me for years. Slowly corrupt and break itself just by using it. Yeah, that's another thing, Jim. You're 100% correct. The lengths people go for faith and all that, yeah, it's insane. Like even the whole like Martin Luther thing, and then you get into like the Mormons and all. I find all that stuff interesting.
I don't know the specifics of it aside from the Jack stuff that we've already spoken about. But like an example of that, getting his information, I'm assuming probably off the white pages. They don't like that. And other people have claimed that you've done this with other people, but I don't know the specifics of that, so I can't speak on that. That's chat.
Okay.
Yes, good point, Bubba. He ruins any chances of these people actually being prosecuted or properly investigated because of the stuff his investigations do. He genuinely, just the way he's putting information out there and saying it's kind of Mama Max-esque, where he's like, a go find him kind of thing, except he does the go find him with his little cretins behind the scenes, and then comes out and throws everything out there publicly based on his moral gauge of the information that he gets. And then we've already seen, if you listen to this whole thing entirely, you see how much of it, the moral gauging is wrong because the information is wrong. So then you can't sit there and say that these people are for sure one way or the other, because you can't even trust the fucking information you're getting. I mean, look at this call right here. You have Jar, who's friends with Akumo and Lio, and has always maintained kind of a neutral position. And then you had Crystal Flame, who was friends with Lio, was in the Senate, hated Akumo just by sheer, what's the word I'm looking for? Like osmosis through the server. I know that's not the word I'm technically looking for, but it kind of works. And then sits there, automatically develops this ingrained hatred based on the toxic environment that they're in. And so then sits there and becomes part of the cretin group to go dislike everything because this person bad. And again, you get back to it, how many times Lio apologizes in this call is absurd, and how much he justifies and then gets proven wrong on points. Again, overall, I say this call was pretty good for Lio. As far as I think this was better than his addressing things video. Do I think Lio is absolved of everything? No. I think I need to wait to see where Lio goes with the criticisms that he received, especially in this call. Whether he's actually going to change or whether he's going to fall into the same traps and everything else. And now instead of Peaches, it's going to be Doodle Tones. He's at a crossroads. Seriously. He's at the fork in the road. He can choose to go on his merry way, leave this stuff alone, which he comments on later. And I'll try and get to that point. But he comments on like, I don't really want to do this stuff anymore. It's not good for my mental health. He talks a lot about his mental health in this call, and I don't want to take any more away from Akumo here. But if he chooses that path, he's got hope. If he chooses to continue to go down the Doodle Tones path and doing the same stuff and gets sucked in to doing the same fucking thing, he's just going to be back in another call like this in another year talking about how I got misinformation and I'm sorry for this and you're wrong about that, and we're back to the same bullshit. Odds are that's where we're going to end up, but when Decepticon High Command orders him to do. Oh, man. His Mama Max with diabetes. Oh. His Mama Max without the film school autism and same art furries. Oh, shit. I've literally told him and others just to take the stuff directly to law enforcement. Yes! I've said it before, Mama Max is Lio is Mama Max with toys. Robots in disguise. You guys are killing me. Fuck. Oh shit. I really hope for Lio's sake, like I said, I apologize for any misinformation that I genuinely got wrong. I don't know 100% if the information that he's saying is correct or the information that I went off of is correct now. He's put enough doubt in my mind to say, formally, I do apologize to Lio if I got anything wrong in my coverages of him. However, my hopes going forward for him is that he decides to take that path that leads away from Doodle Tones. Because if he proceeds down that path, nothing good is going to come from it. But in my Billy Mays moment, but wait, there is more. My love of toys, Transformers, and furries all together. I just want to see if there was anything else with this before we go on to the show.
I think it would be productive. I've seen a lot of shit.
Okay. This I do want to show. They're answering chat questions at this point.
You're next.
Oh, no.
Finally, you'll get some art that you want.
Also, actually, I do have a question for you, Lio. In your video, you state that you have the original version of Kumo's video.
Yeah.
But then you state that he didn't provide the context.
No, he didn't. But
Did
again,
you
I think
watch the
that's
original video.
I did watch the original video. The context comment was made from a second video. That's where he said that, nobody has the context.
Yeah,
first video,
he's
the
never
first video,
given the context to anybody.
He hasn't given proper context.
Did you?
Because
did
I
you
have
watch
watched this first. I did, and that's why I pointed out the problem. Yeah, I have the 23-minute version. That's what I was pointing out, the inconsistencies with the tale. But that's a conversation I'd rather have with you privately, to be honest with you.
Here he goes
I mean,
with it
you put it out in
again.
public video. Why not?
I did, but I'm talking about a specific conversation with you.
This alludes to a couple things. It's either A, Lio wants to have the conversation privately because he doesn't trust the information that he has anymore. I think that's a possibility. Or B, he's trying to potentially poison the well because he's so strong in the belief of the information that he has that he's trying to almost pivot Akumo against Kumo a bit. And I get the feeling that it's more B as this call progresses right here.
If people think I'm wrong, they can make video responses. I don't care.
Would you ever be willing to have a mediated discussion with Kumo?
I can consider it.
I mean,
It probably wouldn't be good for you to be a mediator, though.
I wouldn't say me as the
Oh my god.
mediator. I'd like to witness it. I think it would be productive. I've seen a lot of shit. Have you seen his video that it came out at one point? He ended up unlisting it because he felt like it was negatively impacting another video or something like that. But I know that the video that you're saying you've watched, the 23-minute one, does that? Are you saying it doesn't go into the DMs that the between the two of them or the group chat?
That's the very first video he put out. Do you know which one I'm talking about? Yeah, I watched it when it aired.
So why are you saying you didn't get into the context?
Because it's not actually the context. That's why. And again, when I made the comment about context, that was in reference to his second video on it. That's literally called More Context. It doesn't actually give real context there. It doesn't make any sense. What he's saying is incongruous. That's what I'm getting at.
Yep.
So you don't think that the chats between him and Asta or the DM, the group chat conversation is relevant to the context?
I believe, even based on your own values from what we've seen here, there's so much that people can and cannot control. The problem I have is what Kumo has said versus what I have seen and versus how he conducts himself afterwards, which is what I said in the video.
Have you seen?
Again, he's applying that code of moral justice here against Kumo. And he's holding Kumo accountable for this action with the cutting. And what Akumo is trying to say here is that you're saying that this context that you provided was the audio that we listened to, right? But there's additional context in that there was also chat logs that correspond with what was actually going on top of the audio that provides a fuller context that more aligns with what Kumo is saying. Smoke screen.
In the logs of the group chat or the DMs between the two of them?
When it comes to the logs, it's not really inherently relevant to what I am covering in the video. Because
yeah,
Kumo,
but if you're going to push the accusation, and he's saying, you don't have the context, and you're saying he's never given the context, but he's also talked about it at least in a video.
I'm saying he's lying about the context. I had an entire again. If we want to have more in-depth conversation about that later, I will with you. But if it's something that Kumo takes issue with, we'll figure something out there. The problem is, I had a conversation with Kumo about this a year ago, where I flat out told him that if he wanted to move on and grow from that, he can. He's welcome to. He doesn't have to do so in my spaces. But you cannot simultaneously say you regret an action and then literally make a joke out of it later. You can't.
But again, he was a kid. So what happens? Why are we then shifting the goalposts? Because he was a kid then, but he's of age now. It's kind of like oh god, this shit is what pisses me off with this shit. You have this standard for minors that you just refuse to apply when it's convenient for you, when it's someone you dislike. That is literally what you do.
What's the point of that? Does that show regret? No.
Well, I think the joke comes from the fact that you and your audience keep making the claim.
And that's something to be joked about because
you're saying he made her cut.
And the clip doesn't prove that because
it shows that he suggested it. And it
shows that he suggested it, and it shows that he found it humorous to do so. And that he found it so humorous that he had her put a wet paper towel on her leg to signify that it was his name.
And that he was a minor at the time. And so all this stuff was stupid decisions of a kid, which is something, again, you continually chalk up when it's in your favor. But now when it's against somebody you dislike, you're going to turn your Eye of Sauron away from this and instead contort it and twist. I'm not even going to say you contort it or twist it. You're just taking a standpoint of what he did was bad. I don't like the double standard here, and I don't like double standards in general, which is why I do stuff like I've done the fucking center interview and everything else. I don't like double standards and hypocrisy, and I think there's far too fucking much of that shit. And this is just proof of it again in a different community, same fucking shit. We're gonna have a double standard, and we're gonna be hypocritical when it suits us.
Okay, one at a time,
hold
please.
On. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. So, and this is a point that I made on my previous stream.
Hey, Paz, how you doing?
When it comes to Peaches, you insisted that the context needed was that Peaches had been groomed and was still under the effects of their groomer at the time of being in the FCK, which was while Peaches was 19, 20. Then with Doodles, you said that Doodles had been groomed, and that explains the degenerate behavior, although the degeneracy was before the grooming took place. So I'm going to apply that logic back on this.
Go ahead.
the shit with and you're saying that you've seen at least the DMs and the full group chat. So if you have, and if you've seen his full video on that, or even his other video, because I think he's made about 2 or 3 going over it, you should certainly be able to see the fact that he was pushed into this behavior.
I can see again. Akumo's just trying to apply the same logic that you're giving credit for Doodle Tones, the same logic that you applied when it became a situation for Peaches. You give this generosity and this favorability for these people. But now because it's Kumo, you do not want to extend that same favorability, that same generosity. You instead want to be more hypocritical and more analytical, even though the ages are the fucking same, people. Jesus Christ.
I can see that he was pushed into some of the behavior, but sitting there in call, giddily, humorously, enjoying somebody doing that is not him being pushed into it.
I'm not saying the call particularly is. I'm saying that this is something that built up and led up to that call and then persisted afterwards. But Asta's no longer around and that behavior hasn't continued. So I'm confused as to why, and purely, I'm not saying you can't laugh about it. I want to make that very clear. No. What I am saying is that your audience take issue with, people talking about Peaches in the FCK. You say that the fact that Peaches was groomed is very much needed context. That's what you said.
Standard.
But then when you talk about Kumo, and you apparently have seen these DMs and the group chat, you don't, I haven't seen a single video of yours where you provide that. And that's why I think that a conversation between the two of you going over that would be good.
Oh, okay. I love hypocrisy. You're an Elvis.
And I told you we'd consider it.
And that's kind of where we kind of end with this. He's just basically, Lio's kind of shut down at this point. He doesn't really answer too much. He's still in kind to Akumo. I think this call ends off on a very, very, very good term. But, just after the whole situation with all of this dropped. So you have Lio drops his addressing things video. Then you've got this call that takes place shortly thereafter, right? Well, those like little A-logger kind of people, they were on it. So I kind of want to show this just to give you a perspective. This account, Kavit or whatever the hell their name is, check them out. They've got a lot of stuff in relation to Lio Convoy, and all the stuff that I've seen is pretty good. I don't know if they're unbiased, but they have a lot of information. Like this video I've heard a lot about. Basically Lio's free willingness to use the word retard in private and then discredit people and kind of morally grandstand when people use it publicly. Just that kind of pointing out a bit of hypocrisy and stuff like that. They did a Brian Mullins video. That's funny. But yeah, they did a few streams and I found it interesting. I think they also had one on hey, thank you for subbing. I appreciate it. They also had one on Coyote Lovely, I believe. If I dig deep enough. Boop, boop, boop. They got one on Ephraim. I believe they had one on Coyote. Might have gotten taken down or something. Oh, it wasn't that far back. Boop, boop, boop. Fox Mafia video. That one I think is one that involves Coyote, if I remember correctly. But yeah, they've got a couple different videos. It's a good channel. Like I said, a lot of good information. Maybe not maybe a little biased context, but the information is generally good. But they kind of A-logged Lio a little bit here. And I thought it was a pretty interesting thing to point out. So I want to check that out real quick. So this is the timestamp in Lio's apology video, and a lot of this is applying to Doodle Tones and stuff. I'm missing a lot going on with chat. Backstabby, one overthrow. You guys are really playing on that. I support it.
Also contrary to the popular belief, I also never once said that Lio doesn't have shit to address. I agreed with some of the criticisms in the Dragon Dogs video, and I had even agreed to criticisms from the Fox Mafia prior. Lio is not a perfect individual, and there are definitely very valid criticisms, especially in regards to how he approaches situations, how he thinks about certain situations prior, and how he treats others. I don't think he's abusive, at least not towards those who he
Sorry,
cares
this video
about,
is
but he does
quiet.
still have a lot to learn in regards to conflict resolution and how to approach those with mental health problems. During this whole ordeal, I have had many conversations with the guy about critique, how to address and assess arguments and evidence. I've talked to him about his persistent reliance on insults and when it's okay to use them in counter-arguments. I have also prior, when covering the Neora Plays stuff, told him that going around calling people zoophiles and pedophiles without having that evidence on standby is also maybe a bit too libelous, and that he should be careful when he throws those kinds of allegations.
Oh yeah, I
Do you
know.
guys have any proof of all these things that you're saying? Because anyone can just make up bullshit.
Okay, if you actually go on
Can you
if you actually go on
name?
Gildapoo's channel, hold on, I'm trying to tell you. If you go on to Gilded Poo's channel, he does an entire video about how he owns it. And if you go on to my first Fox Mafia video, I have him literally talking about how he owns porn, and especially continually saying F the victims of child abuse, specifically predation. So there's that.
So
right there.
This is just Gilded Poo, right?
And Conundrum knew that. It's not just Gilded Poo. Call Me Nil. Hold on. Call Me Nil spread the nudes of a child to their friends for some oddball reason, which I also have evidence of concerning the fact that I texted them asking them directly what that was about. And then we have, let's see, Gilded Poo in a call with Pizza, which is recorded. I don't have on hand, but it's recorded. Took no issue with somebody owning child porn. Went to defend Spocker, despite Spocker owning child porn while past his 18th birthday. In-law, the entire reason why she's involved with any of this is because she took issue with the fact that Peaches took Nix and Jackie, two people from the Glitchdale community, to task for talking sexually to children, knowing so that they were. That's why those people are there. And North, MK Volt, as you would know in that server, is a former Fox Mafia member, which was a group of weirdo pseudo wannabe predator hunters that got outed for being disgusting people up to and including zoophilia and defending it there. I've got entire videos just sitting there putting that out on my channel, and there's no way Conundrum does.
It's the last question. Okay. Yeah, the guilty by association thing. Why do you constantly do that?
Well, it depends on what you mean by guilty by association, I suppose.
Well, we could give an example of the DMs where you said that I hang out with pedo and zoo defenders.
Yep, Fox Mafia people is what I was referring to there. So I guess my question
is from Fox Mafia.
That would have been people like Gilded Poo and God, what is his name? North.
Kumo, and you apparently have seen these DMs and the group chat. You don't I haven't seen a single video of yours where you.
So I'm sorry, I jumped back.
Also contrary to the popular belief.
Here, let me. So a little bit of context there. Basically, okay. So first off, I know I didn't cover it and everything else, but when you go through Lio's video, in his addressing things video, he talks about Gilded Poo at one point. He talks about Gilded Poo having the things that he's continually accused him of, okay? With the zoophilia and all that stuff, right? Well, in the call that we just watched, where he's talking with Jar and talking with Akumo and all that stuff, after a little while, Jar leaves, and then, Crystal Flame's gone and everything, and it's just the two of them at the end of that call. And they get back on the subject of Gilded Poo. And at some point, he makes the claim that I have this evidence and everything else. Well, when you go back and you actually look at what he's saying, he is again, just for his benefit, taking Gilded's context, or taking Gilded out of context, okay? And the context is that he learned about this stuff and he was upset, and he kind of disavowed people doxing and sending docs to a predator, which is what he was being accused of. Lio says that he condones it, but when you watch the actual context back, it provides a very different perspective on things, because then you see that Gilded is actually disavowing this, and the fact that there was something kind of alluded to that he knew this information was going to be passed on to a specific person that's predatory. He doesn't know exactly, and he's telling them that this is a bad move, don't do it. So it's just another situation where Lio is kind of taken out of context. Oh, Lio brought up Gilded's kid. Jesus fucking Christ. What is with people bringing up kids? Leave the kids out of it. Why? Pretty sure Jazz. Yep. Oh, Peaches. Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't going to miss too much with chat. Peaches' star scream. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Yeah, especially when it comes to the P word. Leave kids out of it. Anyway, I honestly, that's kind of the extent of it. There's a lot of people going over nitpicking things apart. I know Leia's done a video on it already and taking apart things. Like I said, Akumo's done a video on it. I don't know if I don't think Kumo's responded to it yet. I'm sure he's gonna have a bit to say. But you know what? That kind of wraps up the Lio side of this.